Chair, it's 5:31 if you're ready to call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Callie. I will call this meeting to order. Please call the roll and verify the presence of a quorum.
Dalton Kaysen,
Here.
Michael Steedman,
Here.
Sunny Allen. Here. Shonda Golden is absent. Claudia Davis, Brian Harvey,
Here.
Maya Johnson, Raymond Sherwood, Antonio Taylor. We have a quorum of the Ward 1 Neighborhood Advisory Board. I just want to remind the board tonight, make sure you unmute your mic, state your name for the record and speak clearly into the mic.
Okay, great. With that, we will move on to A2, which is public comment.
Comments heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the NAB's agenda. The NAB may not take action upon any matter not agendized on today's agenda. When you are called on for public comment, please state your name for the record and begin speaking. The timer will begin when you say your name and you will be afforded 3 minutes. If you're an attendee in the Zoom meeting and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand at this time. I do not have any registered public comment in person tonight. I'm not seeing any hands raised on the Zoom either.
Okay, great. In that case, we'll move on. We are skipping A3 for now, moving that towards the end of the agenda, and we'll proceed to A4, approval of the agenda.
Chair, since we have a lot of changes, would you mind just going through how we're going to follow the agenda tonight?
Sure, yeah. From this point on, which is A2, which is closed, we're moving on to A4, A5, A6, then to B1, B2, C3, C1, C2, and then back to A7, A3, and so on.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. All right, so A4, approval of agenda.
Claudia Davis makes the motion.
Can we get a second?
Ray Sherwood, I second.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
All righty. That's A4. All right, now we'll move on to A5, approval of minutes. Can I get a motion to approve minutes from last meeting?
Mike Steven approved the minutes for last meeting.
Great. Can I get a second, please?
Sunny Allen, I'll second.
Great. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Perfect. Let me catch up here real quick on my script. Okay. So now we will move on to A5. No, sorry, we just did that. A6, council liaison report. Are we moving that one?
B1.
Oh, sorry about that.
We did keep that one in order, I believe. But
Okay.
anyway, Councilmember Taylor is not able to make it tonight, so she will not be able to give a council liaison report.
Okay, great. Well, in that case, we will move on to development project review, starting with B1, which is LDC 26-00016.
Well, good evening. For the record, my name is Dave Snellgrove. I'm the planning team lead with Bowman Consulting Group. I'm here representing the project tonight, which is 2400 Valley Road. This same project had been to this board and to the Planning Commission probably a little over 2.5 years ago. And we went through, got the approvals. They had some code enforcement stuff that they were working on. Part of one thing that happened, it ended up slowing down. We had some final plans that were about ready and things really slowed down. In that time frame, the conditional use permit, which is granted for 18 months, expired. So we're back. I'll go through what this is. I was able to use pretty much the same presentation. If you can go to the next slide, or do I have control over here to it?
There is a clicker up
Kelly?
there.
Oh, okay.
Can I make an announcement to the board? You have project review worksheets in front of you that you can use to take notes on this project. Sorry, Dave. Thank you.
So general project overview of this is that we're reestablishing a previously existing legally allowed use. This whole area had previously been zoned industrial, if you know the area up on Valley Road. Over time, there had been zone changes that had taken place with the university, with the city agreeing, creating more student housing. I worked on some of those student housing projects inside the railroad loop. I know where they are, but there's a lot more up there. This is a very viable building. The property owner would like to continue to maintain this Ray and Ray Food Company. I do have Manuel Torres here with Ray and Ray Foods, who can answer any operational questions you may have. Generally, our request through this conditional use permit is the allowance to reestablish a previously existing legally established use with warehousing and distribution on the subject parcel 2400 Valley Road. So location of the property, this is inside that railroad loop up off of Enterprise Drive, north of Stillwell Avenue. The railroad track is directly abutting to the south. If you go down one block or half a block really to Timber Way, that's all industrial through there, and up next to McCarran, that's still industrially designated and zoned. I've got some better maps that'll help highlight that as we go through the presentation. The whole property size there highlighted in blue is 1.51 acres. So I had taken a look back. These are from 2.5 plus or minus years ago when I pulled these up. It's kind of neat to look at some of the history of this building was out there. The earliest photo I could find was 1956. That building that I have pointed to there in the bottom left, that is this structure. The 2004, and then we have a more recent photo, which since I didn't update, is about 2.5 years old. There's been a little bit more construction right around the building, different than that recent photo down the bottom right. But this has been a long established use. It's very viable, it's very functional, and the property owner would not like to see his investment in that go away since it is functional and capable of use. So this was a good image. This one I did add, it's new. Kind of shows the student housing growth in this little peninsula area that goes out into the railroad ring and loop. I have our highlighted property there in yellow, and then there's industrial south. There's actually industrial north where the mini storage is as well, which this helps kind of highlight that a little bit more. You can see the purple is the industrial employment. That is an industrial designation in the city of Reno master plan. And all through here, this got redesignated over to suburban mixed use, which the industrial doesn't necessarily fit in that, but there is a code allowance where you can reestablish a previously legally established use. So that's what we're going through with this. The zoning is very conformant to the master plan designation, the ME zone, that's an industrial employment designation. And then we've got MF 30, which is multifamily 30 as the zoning on the property. So here's some photos of the site. I've got one on the interior, more of a warehousing. Down in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the truck docks and roll-up doors. Mostly they end up using the left two of those, and then that slope up, that's going to the north. There is a student housing project that was really built about a couple of years ago. They're directly adjacent to us. One of the things that we kind of know what the conditions are likely to be from staff on this, because we saw the conditions before and we don't think they're going to change drastically. There is a requirement for screening and a wall there on the slope going up. Given that that building's so tall, the 6-foot wall will do some, it won't do a bunch, but there is a code requirement for some screening and wall in between different use types. So the next steps of the project were anticipated to go to the Reno Planning Commission on November 5th. Leah Picotti is working on this as a staff planner. Her number is there on the screen. My name is Dave Snellgrove. My number's there. Should you have any questions after the fact, please feel free to reach out to Leah or me. The property owner is Bay Merchants One LLC, and the tenant, as I mentioned, Manuel Torres, is here with Ray and Ray Foods, as they're the operators in the building. With that, I will close my presentation and be available for any questions.
Great, thank you so much. I will now open up the questions to the board. Any questions?
Sorry, Ray Shore for the record. How long did you say that building's been there?
Well, the earliest photo I could find was from 1956. So I'm not sure when it was built. It was one of the early buildings down there. That was like a Vaughan industrial area. I'd worked with them when I was working on some of the student housing that's up in the railroad ring.
And you've never had any problems with, crime in the neighborhood, you've had good relations with the neighbors and everything like that?
That's probably a better question for Manny.
No, we
Yeah,
had-
why don't you come up here? You need to be able to talk into the mic. And you need to introduce who you are.
Good evening, my name is Manuel Torres and I'm representing Rain Foods. And to your question, we have no problem whatsoever with no crime, no vandalism, no nothing down there. Mainly because there is a lot of, student housing, so it's mostly all students. And they're not young students, I mean, they're college students. So there's no problem. As a matter of fact, we do have a few that come in and buy produce for themselves. Not all, maybe 2 or 3 or 4. Cause it is produce, college students ain't gonna cook for themselves. So other than that, there's no problem. Our operation, we start at 6 o'clock in the morning and we're out of there by 3 o'clock. But our main hours that you could say of operations is from 7:30 in the morning to 12 o'clock. Our trucks are out of there and back from delivering. And that's all we do. I mean, other than that, we do have some walking customers, but there's no problems at all. So, any other questions?
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Claudia Davis. I was concerned. Traffic. Those trucks coming in and out, that's a busy street there.
Trucks, let me go back. I think I've got one pic. Can I get
Yeah, I'll share.
I think one of my pictures has a box truck in it and largely
Yeah.
what they use. Not all of them, but the vast majority of what they do their delivery in are those kind of city box trucks that
Mhm.
when I can show you the picture and go, okay, yeah, I see those all over the place.
Yeah.
Actually, in the bottom right-hand corner, that white truck backed up to the door, those are their type of delivery trucks. Now, they do also have
Thanks.
people come up that there will be vans, there will be private automobiles that'll pull up and they'll get stuff for whether they have a food truck, a cart, a different, they just need a few things that they do have people come to the store and pick them up.
But the street itself is fairly, or when I went by, it was fairly busy. And the trucks weren't there at that time, but I just concerned about traffic.
Well, you think one of the things that we have to do, one of the conditional requirements that we had the last time, and I fully expect from talking to Leah and talking to the engineers, is that we're gonna have to put pedestrian sidewalk all the way along the front, which is non-existent right now. It's just asphalt.
Mhm.
So we'll have, this area is growing in terms of a pedestrian area.
Yeah.
Do a lot of walkability.
Residential.
And we do know that there's traffic that goes up and down that. They're not allowing us to back out into the street. That
You come forward.
there's a full, we had to turn in some turning templates as part of our plans that show how the trucks can maneuver around in the dock area that they have. So they're pulling out in a safe fashion, they're pulling in a safe fashion. They're like any other business.
Thank you.
Mike Steedman for the record. I travel up and down that street at least 5 to 10 times a day. Have never had a problem with your trucks, not at all. It's too bad you have to put a sidewalk in because there's actually nobody walks up and down that street.
No.
It's a tough grade too.
It's like, it's stupid, sorry. I would love to see you guys stay there. I think it's great for the neighborhood.
But we
I-
want to stay there.
Well, you know, if you think about it, if you put another apartment building, tear it down, put another, there's gonna be more and more traffic, there's gonna be more and more problems.
Yes.
You guys are wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Maya Johnson for the record. So fundamentally, I'm coming at this from a position of, my understanding of the history here is that this used to be an industrial zone and now it's MF30. My stance, just generally speaking, is that I don't think that we should have only residential now that this is MF30. And I'm really interested in your remarks about how some of the residents of the student housing will purchase food from your business.
It's on site.
Do you do have direct to consumer walk-in sales?
Yes,
Is-
as you can see in the picture in the bottom, left, right, where the truck is at, that ramp that goes up is the actual entrance into the building. And that's the back part of the building. The front part of the building is actually where we have canned stuff and refrigeration, and students just go in there, pick what they want. It's like a grocery store. You pick what you want. We have somewhere to weigh it and we charge it, bag it, and have a great day.
Okay, that's really great. I'm happy to hear that because I was going to ask you if you did that sort of thing.
Oh, yes, we do that. How can I put it to you this way? We rely a lot, we want to rely more on foot traffic. Because restaurants, and I'm sure you've all eaten at one restaurant where we deliver our produce. Or Winkle, we deliver produce to them also, and to other stores. But those people pay by checks. But we like people to walk in because they pay more with cash and stuff, and it helps us pay people that we have to pay. So we actually we want to rely more on walk-in traffic.
Okay, that's great. I mean, the direction of that neighborhood is more residential, but I think it's important that if we're going to have people living there, that businesses exist to serve those residents in the neighborhood.
yes.
So I'm really happy to hear that's what's happening here. Something else I had a question about. So are you what's the state of everything now? You said that you had applied for a permit a couple of years ago. Are you not in operation right now?
Yes, we are.
You are. So, but you need to get this permit.
Working with code enforcement on that, and code enforcement has been very good to work with. They're really holding our feet to the fire timeframe wise
Okay.
to try and make sure we get through this process as quickly as we can. So we tried to make sure that everything moved as fast as we could, getting the application in, making sure that we got onto this agenda at the appropriate time. And November 5th date will be the first possible time we can make it to planning commission.
Okay. So this is mostly maintenance of status quo, but there are a couple of things you're being asked to do, like add sidewalks.
The
Okay.
wall along the
Okay.
north property line.
So this is something where it's like, right now, it's not compatible with the default state of the zoning, but you're working to get this permit to maintain.
Yeah,
things
the
as they are.
code there is a section of code that allows, I think I might actually have it listed on an extra slide. Let's see. It's not moving now.
That's because they want us to stay looking in front.
Yeah, let me go. I had this as an exercise. It gets a little technical on the planning end, but there is an item in code. I think it's that RMC 1809307, use or activity which is lawful prior to adoption, revision, or amendment to this title, but which fails by reason of such adoption, revision, or amendment to conform to the present requirements of the zoning district. It basically allows for you to go through a conditional use permit to reestablish that, which is what we're going through. We went through it before, but unfortunately the timeframes.
Okay, sorry. The reestablish, I thought maybe you would had to close and try to reopen.
And that's where Ray and Ray has been. They went in to submit for a business license,
Mhm.
and they'd been up and operating. They said, "Hey, you're going to need to get a conditional use permit." And it's very typical. They'll say, "Listen, go get this. It's not the city's desire to shut somebody down who's a viable business. We just need to get them on the right side of the code." So that's what we're going through this process to try and do. And unfortunately, we're going through it a second time.
Okay, so just this is for maintenance of everything as it is, with the addition of a couple of pedestrian facilities and some noise screening.
Yeah.
But the whole business is closed by 3 p.m.?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how long have you been in business?
We've been at this location. At this location, we're going on 5 years, 4 years.
Are you guys that long? Okay. Because
More or less.
You were at Spice Island.
Yeah,
before
I'm
that.
saying at this location, but we actually, if you would go back across the street from the building where we're at, on the other side of the tracks is a bigger building. It's a sugar thing now. Well, that used to be us. We were there, and we were there for about 4 or 5 years. And then from there, we moved to Spice Island before we needed bigger space. So we've been we've been in Reno in business since 2000. So we've been here 25 years.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, I just want to say, I think it's great that it was previously approved. That's a big deal. It's a long established use. There's only minor maintenance that's needed and it's a low crime area. And then as Member Johnson was getting at, like the fact that residents there can just walk to your area instead of having to go,
Mhm.
blocks away to the store down there or down there. It's good for safety and it's good for a walkable city plan. So I think it should be approved, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, may I say one other thing? You're all welcome to come and see and buy produce from us, and you will see. We do have fresh produce. Cause we have 2 shipments a week, so it's always going out and in, out and in. And you'd be more than welcome, so you can see for yourselves. Okay, cause like I said, we're there we open the doors from 7 into 3 o'clock. But we're there at 6, cause we gotta make orders.
Thank you very
So
much.
you're
for
more
your
than
time.
welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. All right, and then thank you for the presentation. Is there any public comment on this item?
I do not have any public comment registered for this item, and I don't have anyone with their hand raised on Zoom.
Okay, great. Then we will move on to item B2, which is LDC 26-00013. Awesome, thank you.
Hi, my name is Emil Geiger. I'm the owner of the Luella Garvey House at 599 California. This is a few slides we put together for the Historic Historic Resource Designation Commission last week. So it's just, we are applying for a historic overlay for the parcel. So just a brief history of the Luella Garvey House. We have some photos here. It was built and designed by Paul Revere Williams. He's the first African-American architect in the state of Nevada. He did a lot of work in Southern California and also some in Southern Nevada as well. You can see the original, or one of the original photos. I guess at the time it was one of the most expensive residences in the city. Some of its distinctive features are the French doors and the balcony. It was added to the state and national registries in 03 and 04. So we're just kind of completing the process here with the city. Just a little bit about the architect, which is really, I think, that what gives the property its historical value. As I mentioned, he was the first African-American architect, really in the Western US. So he was introduced to the Reno area by the owner of the property. Also in Reno, he did the ranch house at Rancho San Rafael. Also I know somewhat the Lear Theater, which was previously the Science, Church of Science. I know it's a troubled property, but that was one of his contributions. He also, recently the Museum of Art here in town did a whole exhibition about his work here in Reno and in Nevada at large. And so the next slide. Just a little bit about Thrive. So Thrive is wellness. We're a mental health company in town. It's my wife's business. I help her with these kinds of things. She's the clinician. She's a social worker. So we actually, this will be our fourth, well, we've actually been operating there for some time, but we have 4 properties in this neighborhood. 3 of them are historical, but this is the only one that's on the registry. And one of our core values is being rooted in the community. And we find that the older feel of these buildings, the property, the Roy House on Court Street, Garvey, we're talking about right now, and then we're soon to be moving into a property on Hill Street. Those were all built, I mean, Roy House was built in 1906, but we find the kind of historic nature of those buildings provide a kind of healing environment for our clients. In today's fast-paced kind of environment, being in a place that's stood the test of time is often grounding and a healing place. So that is my short presentation. I'll open it to questions.
Great. Thank you for the presentation. Any questions from the board?
Ray Sherwood for the record. Just quick question. What is the benefit of getting you on this, on the city's historic register if you're already on the state and national?
It's for the historic zoning overlay. So we are working on adding some sprinklers and some other things to the building to preserve it. And in working with planning, they said it would be a little bit easier if we got the historic designation.
Thank you. Just on a personal note, we drive by that or ride our bike by there almost every day. Very beautiful building and property. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Maya Johnson for the record. Could you tell me a little bit more about how having the city historic designation would make some of your renovation work easier?
You know, I apologize. I'm not super familiar with the ins and outs. We used CWX Architects for the planning. And I know there's a lot of back and forth with, and I'm drawing a blank on the gentleman's name at the city, but on how to best get through the permitting process and whatnot. And the idea of getting it added to the historic overlay was brought up. So I wish I had a better answer.
Thank you.
All right, any last questions from the board? Okay, I think it makes sense that Dalton D. Kaysen for the record. I think the fact you had your previous approvals from the state and such, I think it's an easy approval for that, in my opinion. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for your time.
For the record, those were put on before we were owning the property. That was previous owner. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, great.
Yep. Okay.
All right, I'll open this up to public comment.
Chair, I do not have any public comment registered for this item, and I do not have anyone on Zoom with their hand raised at this time.
Okay, great. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll move on to some business items and a little bit out of order here. We'll start with C3, University of Nevada, Reno updates, UNR staff.
Hello, my name is Austin Daly. I'm the Manager of Government Affairs in the Office of Government and Community Engagement at the University of Nevada, Reno. I just wanted to come by today at the Ward 1 NAB to just go over some updates on what's been happening at the university over the last few months and just talk about some upcoming things that we're excited about. So I just kind of wanted to start by highlighting some of our recent community partnerships and some of the recent events that we've been holding at the university, including Art Town on the Quad this last July. Part of our partnership with the Art Town Association, holding free community events on campus, on the very south end of the campus on the Quad, including the Josh Reed Quartet, the NNIC Global Expo, Reno Jazz Orchestra, Disney Night with musical theater students. This year, we, for the first time ever, have a new partnership with the Dragon Lights Festival to provide cost discounts for university students, faculty, and staff. We've also gotten like a blue dragon display from the Dragon Lights Festival displayed outside of the Joe Crowley Student Union currently. The QR code for anyone walking by to, get the discount and just walk over to San Rafael Park. And our office also does a lot of work with helping to sponsor Fiesta on Wells in the community. And we're also working to bring our university partners to the Nevada Day Parade to help celebrate the Silver State's 161st birthday. We also just celebrated the grand opening of the John Tulloch Business Building this last August. It is a 128,000 square foot facility with new classrooms, a large auditorium, a finance lab and trading floor that you can see from the street. There's like a Bloomberg stock market ticker going around, a new center for the Osmond Center for Entrepreneurship, We've got a Nevada Small Business Development Center advisor housed in the new building as well, student outreach center, and a new cafe that serves Starbucks but is not Starbucks. And it is a key part of the Gateway District partnership between the university and the city of Reno. With the new business building is approximately cost $155 million. And with the parking garage that we built a few years ago as well, it has a $200 million investment in downtown Reno. We are proud to continue building on that as well, hoping to, between the new business building and the Virginia Street, we just got approval from the Board of Regents a few months ago to start construction on a hotel as well to go in that dirt lot area right there by the bus stop as well too. Still working out the details for that, but we've gotten approval to start moving forward as well. Also just broke ground this August on the indoor field house and turf fields project that we have over by Mackey Stadium. It is a 72,000 square foot facility that will help to serve as a practice field for all 17 university sports. It has 110 yards of indoor turf and was hoping to be financed with philanthropic dollars as well as a student fee increase that was approved by the Board of Regents and supported by the Associated Students of the University leadership, helping to expand and improve student opportunities for recreational activities on campus. And the completion for that is summer 2026. Also, Grand Sierra Resort Arena project just broke ground this last September. Well, the project is the Grand Sierra Resorts. We are excited about the new arena that will be the new home for Nevada men's basketball beginning in 2027 and 2028. Still working through some of the details, but we were excited that there will be a specific student drop-off area, dedicated student entrance for our campus as well. New VA hospital, and this has been talked about maybe for the last year or so, but we are currently the only finalist for the new VA hospital in Northern Nevada, which is a congressionally appropriated funds for this. So this is required to happen. The state of Nevada is supposed to build a new VA hospital in Northern Nevada. Still working with the VA on the final details for that site. It would be in the northern parking lots area of campus, currently about 31 acres of land. We're very excited about this opportunity because it has such close proximity to the new Nevada State Public Health Lab that is also finishing up construction soon, funded by state dollars from the state legislature. It's right next to the School of Medicine, the Orvis School of Nursing, the School of Social Work. We'll provide a lot of opportunities for students to get experience with this hospital close by, and also for our local veteran residents to receive higher quality care at a brand new hospital as well. So hopefully excited to make a announcement soon on that, but still waiting for final confirmation on this project. And I wanted to talk about Nevada's next generation, coming off this new 2025-2026 academic year. We're proud to have more than 24,000 students representing all 17 Nevada counties across 49 US states and 74 foreign countries. In terms of our freshman enrollment, we're excited that enrollment is up 8.7%, including higher enrollment in Washoe County, and also higher enrollment in our Hispanic and Native American populations. Also touching on that, we are very proud of our Collegiate Academy program. It is our concurrent enrollment program in high schools across Nevada that is allowing high school students to gain college credit while they finish their high school degree. 3,990 Nevada high school students earned college credit through the Collegiate Academy program this last school year, currently serving 7,000 students statewide across 38 participating high schools in the state of Nevada. And I want to talk about Nevada football. We got some games coming up. These are the last 3 home games of the season. On Friday, October 24th, we've got our homecoming game, Nevada versus Boise State, Nevada versus San Jose State on November 15th. And then we have the battle for the Fremont Cannon, Nevada versus UNLV on Saturday, November 29th at 6 p.m. We hope all of you can help make it as well too. University students always attend for free, but we're very excited for this, pairing it alongside bringing back the homecoming parade for the first time in almost 10 or 15 years on Sunday, October 19th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. In the past, the homecoming parade, as you can see from this photo, would start at the Reno Arch and march towards campus. As our student government is bringing this back for the first time in a while, they are starting this year doing the homecoming parade just on campus with the goal next year to bring the homecoming parade back to downtown Reno. But if you'd like to join, we got the parade route starting at the North Campus lots, going down to the Knowledge Center lawn in the middle of campus. And we're going to be having an after party with food trucks, yard games, resource tabling, speakers, live music. We're trying to get a lot of local businesses and organizations to help participate as well. And it is a free community event, and we're really excited to bring it back. And the theme this year is Wolf Pack meets the Wild West. So basically just think of just you and our gear and cowboy boots, cowboy hat. But we're excited that this is coming back, and I know our students have been working very hard to get this across the finish line, and we're just about a week away now. So yeah, I know we've got a few city elected officials coming, and yeah, just want to open up for any questions as well too.
Great. All right. Any questions from the board?
I have one. Ray Sherwood for the record. You probably might or might not have detailed information on this, but the VA center. I myself am a veteran, spend a lot of time at the VA downtown. It's horrible. And recently I've been to your campus, going to the opening of VBOC at your business center. And we had to park at the parking structure and go all the way down there. And for a lot of disabled veterans, that is not, it's not doable. So how is that worked into the plan? Because I know parking is already horrendous on campus as it is, so.
Yeah, and so this was always something that we're thinking about, always thinking about parking at the university. The initial proposal was, I think, for a little bit higher than 40 acres, which would have taken up almost the entire north lot area, with the idea that we would then be building a new parking garage, new structure, and even separate from the VA hospital, all of the students would lose that surface parking. I used that surface parking when I was a student. It is the cheapest parking on campus as well too. So as that VA hospital would be like a 10-year project build out, the goal was to be building parking alongside it. Now all that's better for parking is now that the project has shrunk down to 31 acres, we can sustain some of that. The hope is to sustain some of that surface lot parking while also adding additional parking garage right next to the VA hospital as well.
Sunny Allen for the record, what is the deal made between the federal government for the VA hospital and the university? How does it work? Are you guys donating the land and the government's paying for the build? How's that work?
So we would be selling our land to the VA to build the VA hospital on that land. And there was a bill, I am blanking on the name of it, but it was passed in the winter of 2024, supported by Senator Jackie Rosen and Senator Cortez Masto, signed by President Biden, dedicating funds to building a new VA hospital in Northern Nevada. So it legally must happen.
Okay, Mike Steven for the record. All the stuff that's going, I'm going back to parking because I live up there, and there's not enough parking when we do have a full football game. And you're putting another building up there on the parking, where we all parked going to school, and putting the VA hospital. There's just not enough room. We're just filling it up. That's my concern, for the neighborhoods around there and everything else. And even with all the student housing, there's no parking to begin with if you can't invite anybody over. So I would bring back to Sandoval that there's a lot of problems with parking, and they need to address that. And I hate to sell any land that was donated even to the VA. I have a problem with that because we don't own it anymore. So, and let's see, a couple of other things. Yeah. Because I work up there, and there's no parking for. I'm a contractor. There's no parking for us, and parking's they're a pain in the butt. We have to charge more to work up there because we have to pay to work. I mean, to get a parking pass, which doesn't make any sense. So we have to charge you more. So that doesn't make any sense. Other thing is when we're going to have a outdoor track.
That I don't know. I mean, I know the indoor field house, the goal is to have a track for that, and we've got one in the gym.
Well, we already have the indoor track.
Yeah, those are indoor.
Put down at the convention center. So, I was on the track team. That's why I asked.
Okay. I was too in high school. So
Okay. So we're still looking for so we can't have any meets here for the track teams because Alt built the stadium inside the track. So, and he made it so it's oblong. It's not perfect. So you can't have anybody that runs a great time there that cannot qualify for nationals.
Okay.
So we keep being promised for a track.
I can't promise, but
Yeah,
that is a good idea.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
So, but thank you for this update. This is really wonderful. This is what we all want to have you come in and tell us what's going on.
I'd hope to do this more often.
That'd be fantastic.
Okay, Dalton D. Kaysen for the record. I just wanted to say that the parade, bringing that back to downtown, I think is a really good idea. Anything we can do to invigorate, downtown is probably a great idea because it's hurting right now. Nobody really enjoys being down there very much, I hear. So anything to liven it up is great. So thank you.
Very sure for the record, there's one more comment. I just to say that putting the VA on the campus, no veteran that I know of, and I literally know hundreds, not a single one is in favor of building a new VA on the campus, simply for the accessibility. Because most veterans have disabilities and limited mobility. So putting it on campus is not favorable for anybody. And no, like I said, no veteran I know is in favor of that. So.
Anthony Taylor for the record. Thank you. Thank you very much, Austin, for coming. I'm gonna throw a curveball to you. The state university system has been getting in federal trouble recently, especially in litigation matters. Particularly the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause. Particularly there has been issues particularly like your DEI efforts. The state government only meets 120 days out of every 720 days. We meet every month. And I would like to ask if you could forward to Governor Steinville, why do you maintain web pages that basically cause division amongst people? And how that might negatively affect, with recent court decisions like SFFA and stuff like that. How are you dealing with that recently?
I know that, we are complying with any court decisions that are being made, but at the moment, I know with like DEI initiatives and those things, we are, we're not changing the names. I know you might see in the news other universities, changing different names of different programs, but we have just been holding steady, with anything going on at the federal government. But we're complying with any, federal law changes that come through.
So why, my question, so I noticed your website, in regards to your DEI office, you maintain state-funded affinity groups using state dollars. So why do you have everything underneath the sun, but you don't have, let me play devil's advocate, you don't have white, you don't have Christian, you don't have male advocacy groups, but you have everything else? Wouldn't that be a violation of the EPC?
I believe we have Christian and male advocacy groups at the university. In terms of the affinity group celebrations, we're complying with all applicable laws. We held them this last spring, but yeah, we're complying with any legislation any legal boundaries that we need to.
Okay. Great. I just want to let you know because it's like got a website and it's like, hey, evidence is on there. So thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board?
Maya Johnson for the record. I'm especially interested in how the Gateway project is going. I work up there, so I go past it a lot. I've seen the new building go up. Looks great. One thing I'm really interested in terms of that area around Virginia Street, between like the highway and the kind of bottom of campus is right now it's not a very pleasant place to walk. I know that when the Walgreens, this is a bit before my time, but when the Walgreens opened, it was supposed to be something that would really help connect downtown and the university. And it's good to have a Walgreens there, but the pedestrian environment is still very challenging. And so I've been interested in what's going to go up subsequently, like the hotel. I haven't been able to find a lot of details on how it's going to be structured, like what's going to be on the ground floor. And I'm really interested in knowing what's planned for that project that might help bring some more pedestrian activity to the area, kind of give people spontaneous reasons to be around there. And I hope that that what's done with that space isn't just like to host guests of the university, but also kind of to get people around the neighborhood moving around through there and get some more foot traffic. Is there anything concrete for that, or is it still kind of in flux?
Yeah, that's still currently going through the planning phase of what that hotel property will specifically look like. But I know we work with RTC very closely as we're building out that Gateway District on, when the new business building was being built, RTC did a lot of work to establish a new intersection and lights at that University and 9th Street way to make it safer and easier for students to cross. Because before it was just stop signs, and with the new business building, there's gonna be a lot more car traffic. You've probably seen a lot more car traffic in that area. And so I've been working with RTC to make sure that, we're meeting the right traffic requirements and,
Sure. Yeah, I guess I just want to make sure that how do I want to put this? I'm kind of coming at it from an angle of not so much like handling car traffic and conflicts with pedestrians as much as making sure that we have pedestrians. And it's really great that the new business building is open and I see students crossing that intersection that you just described. So that contributes on its own just to having a whole bunch more people moving around there, because before that building opened, there's kind of like, once you get to 9th Street, it's kind of like a wall, and then like there's nothing there. People don't really walk around that much, and then there aren't really a lot of trees or buildings or anything or businesses, and so it's been very very lonely if you're, say, walking on Virginia Street between 8th and 9th. So it's nice to bring the students down, but I do hope that that the future plans for the Gateway project will have some kind of general purpose ground floor uses like retail, some other things that can just kind of have some more urban mingling in that space to bring people up to the university and bring students down into downtown and just kind of have more stuff happening spontaneously. So that's my hope as this project continues.
I can pass along that feedback.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments from the board? Questions? Anybody else? All right, thank you so much for your time. We'll open this up for, do we do public comment on this, Callie?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
open
Okay.
public comment on business items. That said, I don't have any comment cards in person, and I don't have anyone online with their hand raised.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time.
Dawson, we hope to see you.
All right, in that case, we're gonna flip back to item C1, presentation and discussion of consolidated taxes or C-tax.
Evening. Thank you so much. My name is Jackie Bryant. I'm city manager for the city of Reno, and I appreciate that you have allowed me to come present to you this evening, talk about C-tax. I'm going to level set. This usually takes between an hour and a half with questions. I'm going to try and not do that for you tonight, so I might kind of skip some of the slides. You will have all of the information available to you. If you would really like a deeper dive, you can watch Jeremy Aguero, who gave this presentation to council about 6 weeks ago, and we can have Callie and the team send it to you. If you ever want to just learn a little bit more, given the hour, you've got a lot. I'm going to try and get through in about 30 to 45 minutes. I would like you to, however, to ask me questions as you go so that we don't end up having to go back. Is the clicker, where am I supposed to click? There we go. All right, is everyone ready for me to start? Okay, thank you very much. I actually find this fascinating. I've been spending a lot of time on it, so I hope by the end of this presentation, you are also fascinated. First of all, we use the term C-tax. It means consolidated tax. It's a series of tax changes that occurred in 1997. The impetus was to provide some tax relief to property owners. Again, I'm not going to go into a lot of the history just to keep this a little bit shorter than usual. The main thing was that in 1979, there was this big pressure to kind of cause this shift. So Legislature, which you said meets, you're correct, 120 days every 2 years, decided that we were going to put into place the consolidated tax, C-tax for short. 3 questions, true or false? All local governments receive all the tax revenue from the various components of C-tax. You know the answer is false. It is not true. When we talk about C-tax, we are not talking about money that flows to the governments. It flows to a lot of different entities. If you buy something in Washoe County, go down to the gentleman's store who you referenced earlier, and you buy it, the sales tax revenue, does it stay in Washoe County? Generally, yes. However, if you buy it in Reno, the sales tax revenue does not stay in Reno. So there's a big distinction between county and city, and we're going to go through that. So why do we care? A third of the city of Reno's budget comes from consolidated taxes. This is how we fund general fund. General fund is comprised of each of these revenue sources, but today we're only going to talk about C-tax. For your purposes, the thing that you need to know is it is the most important fund for us. The same is true for Sparks. 37% of their general fund budget comes from C-tax. But for Washoe County, it is the second highest funding source for its general fund. Property tax is the number 1 funding source of their general fund. C-tax is less than 30%. We have already done the property tax presentation to council. If you'd like to skip ahead, you can go watch that online as well. But I'm going to come back and talk property tax probably in 6 to 9 months. 2 most important funding sources, whether you are a city or a county, C-tax and property tax. So why should you care? Property tax, C-tax, franchise fees, these are all come within the general fund, the things for which there is no particular assigned fee. Police, fire, parks, code enforcement. All these things, we take general fund revenues and we use those revenues to pay for the things that we do not otherwise have a fee for service. Okay? So these are the things. We don't charge you to go to your house when you have a 911 call. We don't charge you to go to a park, generally. Municipal court doesn't charge you. We fund municipal court. And the same is true for the county. The county provides certain services that the cities do not provide. And the county provides certain services that are identical to those things that the city provides, but in different capacities. The sheriff is an example of that. The city of Reno funds Reno Police Department through the general fund. The county funds the sheriff through its general fund. It also pays for parks, county parks, just like Reno pays for Reno parks. And then there are some other services. There are some services that only the county provides, the city of Reno does not provide, like senior services, child welfare, things like that, libraries. So that when we talk consolidated tax, C-tax, there's 6 different taxes. I like to describe this like a stew. You're going to make a stew, you're going to put it in the crock pot, you're going to let it simmer, then we're going to serve it. So how do we make our stew? We have 6 different taxes, 2 of which are basically sales taxes. The first one, basic, came first. It wasn't enough. So the legislature added the supplemental, but both are basically sales taxes. So we'll go through one by one. And again, I'll stop here. Any questions so far? Okay. Liquor tax. Liquor tax is paid for by a wholesaler. This is ABC Whiskey out of Tennessee. They want to sell their whiskey here in Nevada, and they are going to pay a tax of $3.60 per gallon. And they're going to pay it, and it's going to get divided to the general fund. Some of it's going to go in our C-tax stew, 50 cents. It's going to go in the C-tax stew, and the state liquor program is going to get the rest.
I have a question. So if there's a manufacturer in the city of Reno, they would pay that tax?
Correct. Wholesalers of liquor, 22% alcohol content or more. Wine does not count.
And beer does not count.
Beer
obviously.
does not count. Scotch, vodka, hard stuff, it counts. The same protocol is used for a cigarette tax with a different number. Also a wholesaler fee. Now, you also pay sales tax if you go buy cigarettes, but for purposes of the cigarette tax, we're talking about a wholesaler fee. It's $1.80 per pack of 20. That $1.80 is divided up. $1.70 goes to the state general fund. 10 cents goes into our C-tax bucket, along with the 50 cents for the liquor tax. So we got 50 cents and 10 cents. We got liquor and cigarettes in the stew. So now we're going to talk about the governmental services tax, the GST. This is the tax that you pay when you register your car. State law says it's 4 cents per dollar of value. So we're going to assume a $30,000 car value. And of that total, $420, the C tax is going to be $206. The rest of that $420 is going to be divided up, as you can see. But the C tax $206 is going to go into our C tax stew. So we have 3 things in the stew now. The fourth one is the real property transfer tax. You pay this when you sell real property, like your house. Buyer actually pays it. Usually buyer and seller can agree to split it, but the buyer is the one that pays it by law. It's $2.05 per $500 of property sales price. The C tax component of that is 55 cents out of that. So if you're going to sell, let's say Antonio is going to sell to Raymond a $500 piece of land, you're going to pay $2.05 tax. Of that 205, 55 cents is going to go join the others in the C tax stew, and the rest of it is going to be divided up as indicated. So as you can see, for each independent tax, there are different areas where each one goes. Here's the first of the sales taxes. It's a basic city-county relief tax. We just call it sales tax 1. It is 0.5% of the total sales price in Washoe County. So this is where it gets tricky. So I'm going to back up for a second. We've talked about 4 different taxes, each of which goes into our C tax stew, right? This is a sales tax. In Washoe County, you're going to pay $8.27 when you spend $100. Go down to the hardware store, buy a $100 lawnmower. You're going to give the hardware store owner $8.27. That $8.27 sales tax is going to be divided up. It doesn't all go to Reno. It doesn't all go to Washoe, even if you bought it right here in the city of Reno. 3.14% goes to K-12 education. 2% goes to the state general fund. Other uses get 0.875. But the basic sales tax 1 is going to get 0.50. Now, you don't have to remember this. We're going to go through it again in a second.
Excuse me, what's the other C tax there then?
Right there, that's the
Yes.
supplemental.
Okay.
So remember when I said the basic wasn't enough, so they had to come up with a supplemental. So the last of the 6 C taxes is also a sales tax. It's pretty high. It's 1.75% of that 8.27. So it's a pretty good chunk, and I'm going to show you how that comes out in money.
Sorry, Ray, share for the record real quick. A couple of your slides, you got K-12 education. Where does that K-12 education money go?
State of Nevada.
Goes to the state, not the county?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Callie, I have my experts online. If I get that wrong, they'll chime in. So when you add up the 2 sales taxes, it's 0.5 and 1.75, basic plus supplemental. So the total C tax component of the sales tax is 2.25. So I'm going to say that again. 6 C tax items, 2 of which are sales tax. The 2 equal 2.25%. She'll unmute if she needs to say something. Okay. I lost my clicker.
Can I ask a stupid question?
And there are no stupid questions. This gets wild. Just wait.
Gas is more expensive here than other places in the
Yes.
state of Nevada.
Unrelated.
Okay.
That's about the fuel tax, for which there is a third presentation I will come back and give you.
Thank you.
We're gonna start with C-tax, we're gonna do property tax, and we're gonna do fuel tax. A lot of things are not taxed. Those are all under the exempt sales category. So a lot of people think, well, we pay sales tax on everything. No, you don't. You don't pay it on a whole list of things that the legislature decided was not appropriate for various policy reasons. So you're not going to pay taxes on food, your groceries that you take home, but you do pay sales tax on food that's prepared. That's why you have a fee when you go to a restaurant. That's why even in a grocery store, when you buy prepared foods to go home and bake, you pay a tax on that too. And that's just policy decisions. Again, state of Nevada, nothing we can do to change that. So we're going to talk about all six in terms of how much money they bring into the state of Nevada. In fiscal year 24, and that means that it started July 1 of 2023 and it ended June 30th of 2024, $2.2 billion was paid in C-tax, all six, including the 2 sales tax. That's across the state of Nevada. And you can see visually how much money the supplemental sales tax brought in. 68% of that 2.2 billion came from the supplemental sales tax. That's why the legislature made the change. We weren't making enough money on the other. It makes more than all the others combined. And you can also see the liquor and the cigarette, they're not nothing, 4.5 and 7.2 million respectively, statewide, but it doesn't bring in what the supplemental and the basic sales taxes bring in combined. And just to drive that point home further, for Nevada, 87.3% of the 6 taxes come from sales tax. And for Washoe County in particular, it's 84%. Sales tax is important. We need people to buy things. If no one bought anything in 2024, we would have collected the revenue that's reflected in the gray bar statewide and in Washoe County. It's not enough. So we're going to go through some allocation again of this $8.27 in sales tax. Now we're talking about the 2 sales tax pieces. 50% of the $8.27 that you pay when you go buy that lawnmower goes back to the state. There's the C-tax component that goes into our C-tax stew. There's a little bit extra that goes to the city of Reno. We like to highlight just for awareness, not really relevant to the presentation of C-tax, but it's just good citizen information. The bottom one is called the retrack, and this is the bond that the city of Reno took out to underground the railroad, and we pay back that debt through this particular allocation through the sales tax. Now, the Local Government Tax Act is a completely different, unrelated act in which you can see that of 0.25% of the money collected through sales tax, it's divvied up accordingly on the right. Reno gets 16% of that 0.25, which is nothing. So it's not part of C-tax. We like to show you what Reno's getting just so that you understand and we're being fully transparent about it. And then the others, you can see where they go. So now we have a stew. It has cooked. It has 6 different C-tax items in it, 2 of which are sales tax, and it's time to give it out. All of the money rolls up to the state of Nevada Department of Taxation. It is the Department of Taxation's job to distribute it back out. So when you pay your hardware store owner, that $8.27 goes from the hardware store to the Department of Taxation. Department of Taxation puts it in its little blender and pushes it back out. So now we're on the push it back out phase, okay? All the taxes have been collected. How does it go back out? Well, it's complicated. It's based on statutory formulas that are determined by the legislature. And it goes from the state to the 17 counties. And then it goes from the counties to the different jurisdictions in the county. And we're going to walk through what some examples look like. By the way, because it can't be simple, each tax has a different distribution method. So not only is there a different amount collected, when it gives back, it goes back a different way. For liquor tax, it goes back to the local entities based on population. So that wholesale tax that ABC Whiskey in Tennessee paid when it brought that whiskey to sell in Reno is distributed back to Clark County predominantly because Clark County has more people in it. Pure population, 15.7% of the people in Nevada live in Washoe County, so that's how much Washoe County got.
Stupid question here. Sorry, Rachel.
No stupid questions. It gets
So-
better.
So this is based on population, not by actual sales numbers?
100% correct.
That's retarded.
Well,
Sorry, that's doesn't make any sense. But
my guess is that there is an assumption built into the formula that there are more people in Clark County and therefore Clark County consumes more alcohol because there's more people consuming alcohol. But there is zero correlation between where it was purchased, where it was drunk, where it was shipped to. It is 100% based on population. The same is true for the cigarette tax. Also by population. Majority went to Clark County in 2024. And then you can see how it was allocated from the cigarette tax in 2024. Washoe County, the group, we're going to talk about Washoe County, the region, and Washoe County, the entity. Washoe County, the region, got 1.1 million. Now, the governmental services tax, that's where you register your car. It does go back to the county where you registered it. So when you go to the DMV and you register your car, the component of C-tax, remember if I showed you the slide that the whole fee was $406, but like 220 went into the C-tax bucket, that 220 goes back to Washoe County. And you can see in FY24, Washoe County collected $40 million. The same is true for the real property transfer tax, where you buy the property, that tax, the component of C-tax, not the 100%, but the component of C-tax goes back to the county. And the same is true for that sales tax number one, the little one, the 0.5, goes back to the county in which you purchased it. You're wondering, that makes sense, right? How could it get any better? Well, it doesn't. So the supplemental city-county relief tax, the one that creates most of the revenue, has Part A and a Part B distribution formula. So remember, we're serving it back out. It collected $1.5 billion, generated $1.5 billion in fiscal year 2024. How does that go back? It goes back first to what we call guaranteed counties, and guaranteed counties don't make a lot of money. There's not a lot of retail transactions occurring. Very agricultural, very rural. Legislature makes a policy decision that we want them to have enough money to live, and so we're going to kind of give them a guaranteed income. And you can come out of that guaranteed income if you make more money, and in fact, White Pine County did for FY25. So while there's 6 in FY24, there will be only 5 when they divvy up the money for FY25. Yes.
I got a question. And Anthony Taylor for the record. So what did White Pine County do in order to get that balance?
I want to say it was mining, but
Okay.
I don't quite remember. Callie or Jason, do you remember how they jumped out of that guaranteed income bucket?
Yes, Jason Fortari, urban economist in the Office of Policy and Strategy. The reason they came out is because their actual collections were 10% larger than their guaranteed amount. So every time it's 10% larger, the county's eligible to move to a non-guaranteed county. unless they file petition the Nevada Tax Commission.
But Jason, do you remember why? What boosted their income?
The specific reason, not sure.
Okay,
Lot-
we'll look it
lot-
up.
A lot of times in the smaller counties, it's due to mining activity.
Yeah, I think it's mining. Okay, so we're gonna give a little money to the guaranteed counties, and then we're gonna give the money to everybody else. So the first thing we do off the top is the 6 guaranteed counties get 13.3 million, 1% of the total. Not a whole lot relative. And then we're gonna distribute to Clark, Washoe, and the 9 others based on their share of revenue after the guaranteed county got their cut. So guaranteed counties first, everybody else gets their share based on a formula. We're not going to talk about it. Just as a reminder, it's $2.2 billion that was distributed. And Washoe County, the region, got 313 million from each of the 6 C-tax items. Now, what does Washoe County do with that money? Now, again, it's not going to the entity, it's going to the region. So how do we divvy it up from there? So we're going to start with the 313 million. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to give it to some enterprise districts. I'll show you what those are in a minute. And then we're going to give it to the local governments, Reno and special districts. The enterprise districts from FY24 got $196,000 out of the 313 million. Reno got 96.4 million of the 313 million. And Washoe County received 159 million. How did that happen? Well, in 1997, part of the formula to distribute once it got to the region was we were going to set a base amount, a floor that every entity was going to get, a minimum amount based on the conditions on the ground in 1997. It has not been updated since. And every year we're going to make a new base. We're going to go up. We're going to step up every year based on last year's C-tax adjusted for inflation. And then anything left over, we're going to divide that up. And then anything left over, we're going to divvy that up too. Don't think about it a whole lot. What matters is the ultimate distribution after going through a formula that was set in place in 1997. Reno gets 96.4 million. Before I tell you why that's a problem, I'm going to go through what an enterprise district is. So as a reminder, first thing that happens is a group of things called an enterprise district get a cut. Now they don't get a boatload of money, but they get some money. And it goes to Sun Valley Water and Sanitation, and it goes to Verdi Television, Government Improvement District, General Improvement District, sorry. That money also gets divvied out to Carson Truckee Water Conservancy, Incline Village GID, North Lake Tahoe Fire Protection, Palomino Valley GID, and Truckee Meadows Fire Protection. Note, this is almost $19 million. Every one of these is an unincorporated Washoe County. And again, previously people decided Reno cannot change this. This is just the way it is. So we're going to go through some real life examples of how money gets distributed. So this is the liquor tax. We're going to assume that the tax was $1.66. Of that $1.66, the Nevada General Fund and Liquor Program will take $1.43, and local governments get to divide the 23 cents. And because it's based on population, Clark's going to get more. The region of Washoe County gets 4 cents. And when you look over to the right, you'll see that step 2 allocation. You can see that Reno gets a penny out of this $1.66. There's an $18 cigarette tax paid, also distributed by population. $17 going to go straight up to the Nevada General Fund. The $1 is going to be distributed to Clark first. Washoe is going to get 16 cents, and of that $18, Reno, the city, gets a nickel. Now, you're going to register your $30,000 car in Washoe because you live somewhere in Washoe County. Of the $420 tax that you will pay, $214 will go to the state. $206 will be available for local governments. This is where it is not based on population, but it's based on the county, not the city, in which the transaction occurred. And because it occurred in the county of Washoe, Washoe takes that. The region gets $206. Washoe County, the entity, gets $105, and Reno gets 63. So $420 paid, Reno gets 63.
Okay, I got a question. And Lee Taylor for the record. So if I were to buy, so if one were to buy a car in Carson City, it would not matter because it's registered, it must be registered. So you would get the money no matter what.
That's correct.
Okay, just
We
clarification.
wouldn't get the sales tax. We
Okay.
get the sales tax, but you have to register it where you live,
Oh,
I
okay.
think. Understatement. Let's say you sell your home, you're going to pay $2,050 in tax. $1,500 goes to the state. Local governments keep $550. The region, because it occurred in Washoe and it stays in Washoe, the region gets $550, but Washoe County, the entity, keeps $279 of that, and the city of Reno gets $169. So here we've added the two sales taxes together, the basic and the supplemental, 2 of the 6 C-tax components. Here's the $100 purchase. You're going to pay $8.27 sales tax. $602 goes someplace other than local entities. Off the top, it's gone. It funds other things. $2.25 is available for local governments, and it's not based on population. It's based on the county in which the transaction occurred. But once we take that $2.25 and we divide it up, you're going to see that Washoe County gets $1.14 and Reno gets 69 cents. This is even if the transaction occurs in Reno, if the transaction occurs in Sparks, or if the transaction occurs in unincorporated Washoe County. So in Southern Nevada, most of the economic activity that occurs on the Strip. The Strip is in unincorporated Clark County. In Washoe County, most of the economic activity occurs in Reno, which is in Washoe County. So a little bit of a difference, right? When you look at the relationship of population share to C-tax received, you can see that unincorporated Washoe County has 23% of the population and receives 51% of the total C-tax. Whereas Reno has 55% of the population and only receives 31% of the total C-tax. And that's all 6 combined. In Clark, it's the opposite. Unincorporated Clark County has more population and receives less C-tax share. So this construct created in 1997 works very well for Clark County. It does not work for the city of Reno. Now, to be fair, the county provides services the city of Reno does not provide. They provide a medical examiner, libraries, some services you pay for, some you don't. Treasurer's office, assessors, generally you don't have to pay for that, but sometimes you do. Registrar of voters, you don't have to pay. City of Reno actually gets a bill from the county to pay for elections when the city council is on the ballot. We're working through that with them right now. So to be fair, there are services that the county is obligated by law to provide, many services which the county receives funding to provide, and that they do provide that cities do not provide. And this is a common construct really throughout the country, that counties provide some services, cities provide the others. And if you go back, though, it's a 28% different. We did a fiscal study about 3 years ago that showed that the city subsidizes the county to the tune of $60 million annually. I don't know that it's 60. It's some. I don't know that it's 60, but we need to work through, and we are working through how to kind of right-size some of that. You're familiar with the city's budget, the challenges that we're having. The C-tax allocation is one of the reasons we're having those challenges. So tried to do it in 30 minutes.
Okay, question for you, Dalton D. Casey for the record. I guess it's two-pointed question. One is like, is this common in other cities, other states, to be this complicated and to be
No.
allocated this way? Okay. And then how do we fix it? Is it
Legislative change.
legislature only?
Yeah.
Okay. Ay, that's a mess.
That meets once every 2 years for 120 days.
So I got a question. So we all know the balance of the legislature, and it's heavily tilted to Clark County. What to the people in the to Jason, how would you, out of curiosity, how would you change the issue of the formula? What under section 8, section NRS 360, section 850?
So I'll
Which is the
try, and
petition.
I'll let Jason chime in if he wants to add something. So there's a lot of things we're looking at. This is going to be a very difficult political lift. And it works for Clark. So you're right. The legislature is, population-based. It works for Clark County. So how do we change it for Reno without opening up a statute that is going to have some unintended negative consequences is the question of the day. It also would be challenging, I think, for Washoe County. I mean, we really are having some significant budget problems, but I think Washoe County is on the heels of some of those same budget problems. So it's a myriad of complicated things. We wanted to start with understanding why. People kept asking, where does all your sales tax revenue go? I don't know. How to go figure it out. Now I can say of $8.27 that you pay per $100, I get 69 cents. That's where I didn't get it. That's where it went. It never came. So how we fix this is still up for debate and conversation. We wanted to start with the education. So we don't have an answer for the fix yet.
Just to add on to what Jackie said, when you think of seed tax, you got to think of it like a pie. You could either grow the pie and add a new tax, like some things that aren't being taxed on sales tax are digital goods. Some of the exemptions could be removed. So we could essentially grow the pie and get a bigger slice that way. Or you got to cut up the pie differently. And any cutting up the pie differently would require a legislative change.
And it negatively, if we cut up the pie differently, it's gonna gore someone's ox, right? It's gonna have a negative impact. If I get more, Washoe County gets less. So we have to be careful that we don't have unintended negative consequences. To Jason's point, we don't tax a lot of things in this state that are taxed in other states. We are, everyone wants to come here because they don't want to pay taxes. They get here and they're like, how come your parks aren't great? Well, why did you move here? I moved here because it was low taxes. Okay, well, it's low taxes, which is resulting in your parks not being great. So we don't tax services. A lot of states tax services. If you go get your hair cut, you don't pay a sales tax. That's very common in a lot of jurisdictions. So to Jason's point, you can grow it, you can redivide it. They all have challenges. No one likes to pay more taxes. We can reduce services. I have family who live where they do not have a paid firefighting force. They have rural firefighters. They ring the bell. Everybody comes from wherever they are. They get in their one fire truck and they go. They don't it's a very low tax community. They don't pay. I'm not suggesting that's the right answer, but I am saying that there's a cost for everything that we have. And the source of that funding has to be carefully considered, or we need to not have services, not firefighters. Of course, it's just an example. I'm gonna get hate mail.
Maya Johnson for the record. I've been curious about this, and since you're here, I'll just pitch it to you as kind of a related thing. To what extent, if any, does the city of Reno have the authority to levy taxes on its own? Say
None.
none whatsoever.
So we're what's called a Dillon's rule state. There's two types of states. One's home rule, one's Dillon's rule. We're Dillon's rule, which means the cities, local jurisdictions can only do that which the legislature has specifically authorized to do. In home rule states, you can do anything the legislature hasn't told you you can't do. So we have to have specific legislative authority to implement a tax. We can't increase the sales tax. I can't go out and say, I'm going to tax everybody with a purple car. You
No
know,
income tax.
we cannot increase, no, can have no authority to do any taxing.
And so, for example, if you wanted to have like a vacancy tax for undeveloped land to try and like combat speculation or something, cannot do it without explicit state authority?
Yes, now there might be explicit state authority somewhere in statute for that particular thing, but I don't think there is, because I think we've looked at that. I just can't remember it right now. But we have to always look. Someone will have a great idea and we have to go, do we have legislative authority? If no, then do we want to ask the legislature to give us that authority with one of our two BDRs that we get every 2 years when they meet for 120 days? So.
Okay, that question's been burning in my head, so thank you.
No. So my question to you is, when you spend $100 and you pay $8.27, how much does Reno get? Done my job.
Thank you so much. That was very, yeah.
My pleasure. I'll come back and do property taxes.
'Cause a lot of people don't know this.
They don't
like,
have any.
Almost
idea.
nobody does, and then their anger is in the completely wrong place, so,
Mhm.
thank you for
You're,
letting
you're
us.
very welcome. Thank you for listening, and tell one friend.
Yeah,
We'll
absolutely.
slowly right the ship. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Do we have any public comment for this item?
I have one.
I do not have any.
Sorry. Did you have something? Oh, I thought I heard someone else.
I do
You had
have
something.
one question. Can we get a copy of the presentation? Because I see a lot of, it's like thinking about formulas in the head and stuff like
Yes.
that over,
That would
you
be
know.
good.
Yeah, we have the presentation attached to the agenda.
Yeah, it's on this agenda. It's also was given by Jeremy Aguero about 2 months ago at council. So you can watch it with Jeremy, who's really an expert in the economic space. And the presentation is attached there as well.
Yeah, we'll nail down the date that was given to council and distribute it to the board.
Great, thank you much.
Okay, and public comment none?
No public comment on this
Okay,
item.
great. Then we'll move on to, let's see, C2. Yeah, Regional Transportation Commission, general project updates.
Hi guys, I'll do, and I'm Paul Nelson. I'm the Government Affairs Officer at RTC. And I'm giving you guys an update on some of the things that we're doing here in Ward 1. Now I see the issues.
It's not liking me tonight. Let me see. Let me back out of here. Reshare.
Do I need to point it in a certain direction or anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Try it
Let's do
again.
this.
No. I don't know. It doesn't like me. Let me just reopen it. Where am I? Okay.
I also have a thumb drive with the PowerPoint. if that
It
makes a
should
difference.
be okay. Let me see.
It looks different. There's supposed to be a picture there.
Okay. Oh. Something weird happening here.
Go on my thumb drive. It's actually a PowerPoint instead of a PDF.
You can also talk about something else that's kind of fun in RTC besides Ward 1.
Oh, some of it overlaps. I'll get
Okay.
into the different things that we do, public transportation, metropolitan planning, engineering. So the engineering will be specific to Ward 1.
Just 1 second, NAB members. So sorry. We're re-downloading the presentation to see if it works.
Fine.
That one looks like it has a picture now. We're making progress.
Right. See, I told you there was a picture. All right, so as I mentioned, we do 3 things at the RTC. Some of this might be a review for some of you. RTC Ride is our fixed route bus system, and it's the largest chunk of our transit. It's the backbone. We're really happy with the success we've had over the past few years, 37 straight months of growth in ridership, month over month. So more than 3 years. We have a fleet of all-electric, diesel-electric, hybrid, and hydrogen fuel cell. We have 8 brand new hydrogen fuel cell buses. We haven't started operating them yet until we have our fueling facility completely in place. So then we'll get those. Those are cool buses because they're electric, but instead of having to charge them, the hydrogen charges them. And you can see almost 6 million trips per year. So bus rapid transit, this is really our 2 most popular routes, our 2 of. Virginia line by far, you can see there's more than 1 million rides per year. Lincoln line, that goes from the 4th Street Station over to Centennial Plaza and Sparks. So between those 2, almost 1.5 million rides per year. We have 20 routes. Those 2 make up about 23% of our total ridership. And the nice thing about it is it's every 10 minutes on the weekdays, a bus will show up at one of these big stations. During the weekends, it's 12 minutes. So the amount of waiting is a lot better. Microtransit is our flex ride system, and we've got 4 different areas within Reno and Sparks where we have this in place, and it's really to put it in areas where we don't have a fixed route bus service or not as much bus route service. So the one you're looking at here, this actually goes all the way into Ward 1. This is our largest area. It's the Verdi Somerset area, goes all the way from the state line to Sierra Street. So you can see it's a pretty big area. Anywhere within that bubble, you can take one of these. It costs $2. It's like our Uber or Lyft service. If you want to go outside that bubble, they'll take you to a bus stop and then you can get around on the bus. So that ticket just transfers over. The other areas, we got Sparks, Spanish Springs, North Valleys, and South Meadows. A couple of big programs we have, Senior Taxi Bucks. It's a $60 subsidy. So people can sign up for this if they're 60 years old, a veteran, or a person with a disability. And it's a card that auto loads every month. So use it or lose it, but at the end of the month, it'll reload for you. Van Pool Program, this is a carpooling service for people that work in the same area, live in the same area. And it's been really popular in this part of the country, especially because of a lot of the jobs are long distances. USA Parkway, Carson City, Susanville, Lake Tahoe. So in 2024, this saved 20 million vehicle miles traveled. So it's been a pretty good program. We're top 10 in the United States. And that's really just because of that geography. Couple of good programs that we have going on right now. EdPass program we've had for a long time, and that's anyone that works or goes to school at one of our 4 colleges in Northern Nevada, so UNR, Western Nevada, TMCC, and Desert Research Institute, they can all ride the bus for free. It doesn't have to be for school, it can be for anything and any route. And we just started Youth Ride Free this year. It's a partnership with Washoe County School District so that students can apply for this and then they can ride for free. So anyone that's in K through 12 in the Washoe County School District, we're trying to expand that right now to also the charter schools. So we think that this is a really good program because it'll help cut down on tardiness. It'll cut down on absenteeism. During the summertime, kids can have summer jobs. And if they don't have a vehicle, they have a way to get there. They can also get to different services. They can get to recreation. Nice thing about this too is like right now in the school year, if you want to play football or if you have choir or band or volleyball, you might not have transportation. This allows kids to join those extracurricular activities. So the second thing that we do is planning. So we are the Metropolitan Planning Organization. So we're in charge every 4 years. We have to update our regional transportation plan. So this looks out 20 years. What do we want to see in the future? We just updated this one. It got approved by our board in February. And everything that we do, every project that you see out on the roads starts in this document. And then it goes down to a 5-year plan, then a 2-year plan, and then we start building. So one of the components of the RTP is our neighborhood network plans. We just started this up recently. We broke the region up into 12 different neighborhoods. And the first 2 that we looked at were Central Reno, right there, number 9, and Central Sparks, number 7. So we already went through, we did the study, and now we're ready to put in some improvements. So what this does is it looks at each neighborhood and it looks at ways that we can make it safer for people that want to walk or bike in their neighborhood, just improve safety. It could be sidewalks, crosswalks, could be speed bumps, it could be all kinds of different things. And we can get into that a little bit. We recently did those 2. Now we've switched gears and we're doing the study for number 10 right there, which is Meadowood Mall, Hidden Valley area, and also number 2 up there, which is the North Valleys and Sun Valley. Not all the North Valleys. Obviously, we got number 1 farther up there north. So what we did is we look at some of the things. We can do some things that we can do really quickly and for a lot less money for short-term things. And that can be anything from those bulb outs that you put there, the center pedestrian refuges right there, a little roundabout that you can put in there, decorate it with trees, things like that. Just little things that you can make the neighborhood safer for people to get in and out and around their neighborhoods in a safe way. So we've got the short-term things and we've also got long-term things. Some of the things we can put in our bike lanes, cycle tracks. The one up there on the top right, those are called armadillos, which they don't look like they're very protective, but apparently they don't feel very good for a driver when they hit them. So it does separate the bike lanes from the traffic. So there's a lot of different things that we can do for very little money and very quickly. And that's what we're hoping to do with these neighborhood network plans. And then also some long-term, more expensive things. Engineering is the third one we do, and that's the one that probably affects most people the most. And that's because construction happens every year. And we've got a lot of projects going on right now. One thing about our engineering is the investments that we've put back into our community provided 2,700 construction jobs last year. So the money that we have, we put it back into the community, we improve the roads, and it really does help a lot of the families in our communities. All right. We go. So one of the programs that we did this year, we don't do this every year, but we did 4 bridges where we resurfaced them. Ralston Street, Coonsley Street, Evans Avenue, and Valley Road. They're very quick jobs, only take a couple of weeks. You just got to basically take that top layer off and then put a new layer down. All 4 of these bridges, I believe, are in Ward 1. The trickiest one was the one right up there by the ballpark, the Coonsley Street Bridge, because that sidewalk is deteriorating. But the sidewalk is also part of the bridge structure itself. So what they had to do was go in and make some improvements using epoxy and things like that. So that was the last bridge that we did. We also had to work around the ACES schedule and also some different special events like Hot August nights. We don't want to be clogging up bridges when there's things like that going on. A big project that we've been looking forward to for a long time is the Arlington Avenue Bridges replacement. If you guys have been down there, it's really cool to see. You can see on the top left picture, the north bridge is almost in place. So we had to block off that north channel, build the piers and the outside structure of the bridge, the abutments. And then once those were in place, we could switch sides. So now the water is flowing on that north channel and it's not flowing on the south channel. We can build the rest of that north bridge from the top. So we don't need to be in the river anymore. That top right picture, that's the south bridge. That's demolition right now. And you can see on those bottom pictures, that's what the two bridges are gonna look like when we're finished with them. So we're really excited about this. We have until November 30th to get out of the river.
I have a question. First Street, with the businesses there,
Mhm.
they've been pretty beat up. Isn't there ways, I haven't been down there for a month, but it was pretty closed off and it's gotta hurt them. Is there any way that we can kind of keep that more open for them?
We do what we can. There are obviously safety issues when it comes to big construction projects like this.
Mhm.
And we do try to get the word out that there is business access available. We encourage people to go to those businesses during construction times. We're, there's gonna be an impact. We try to minimize that as much as we can. But once we get out of the river, we'll build the abutments on that south bridge and then we can put the top on it afterwards. So both channels will be flowing again after November. Once all that's done, it should go pretty quickly. We're expecting to have this done by the spring or early summer. So after that one, the next project for the bridges will be the Sierra Street Bridge. We had planned on trying to do this. Originally, that Arlington Bridge was supposed to be a 2-year project. We got that down to 1 year, which was a pretty big deal, saved us some money. It allows Wingfield Park to open up after 1 year instead of being closed for 2 years. So that pushed this back for 1 year. So 2027, we'll start replacing this bridge. And you can see this one's also structurally deficient. A lot of the concrete is chipping away. It was built in 1937, so it's time. The Arlington bridges, one of them is more than 100 years old. The other one is almost 100 years old. So same kind of thing. They're old and they need to be replaced. Oh, one more thing about that one. You can see the current bridge has 2 piers. We're going down to 1 pier. And that's the same as the North Bridge for Arlington. We also had to make some upgrades for that water, for the kayak park, because when you change to that single pier instead of 2 piers, the current was gonna take you right into that pier where it used to be open. So we had to reconfigure that as well. After that, 2028, hopefully, we can start replacing the Keystone Bridge. And we're still early in the process, right around 30% design. One of the things that we really wanted to do with this one is we asked the community if they want pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure on the new bridge, and they overwhelmingly did want that. So right now, people, they go over Booth Street if they want to cross the river. So we are going forward with plans to put sidewalk and bicycle separated from the road. It'll still be a 4-lane road. This is also a structurally deficient bridge. It looks a lot worse than it really is because everything that you see, the damage it's really aesthetics. It's the exterior of the bridge, but it is time to replace this one too. It was built in 1966 when really everything was built around the cars and not a lot of thought was put into sidewalks and bicycle infrastructure. So this will be the most expensive of the bridges and hopefully we'll get started in 2028. We have to figure out how to fund that. Arlington and Sierra are both fully funded. This one, we're still coming up with funding. So we'll probably apply for some grants, federal grants, things like that. And then we've also got some other buckets of money that we'll try to fund it with by then.
I have one question, Sunny Allen, for the record. As far as the Keystone Bridge, is there any plan to straighten out or possibly remove some of the little spaghetti bowl, all of the different entrances and going under and, it's kind of, it's a little crazy over there.
We are looking
Try to
at,
reconfigure it.
we're not just looking at the bridge, we're looking at that entire, like the California intersection, Booth Street. So we're looking at that entire area and trying to figure out the best way to do that. One of the options is also, do we want to have the bicycles go over the bridge? Or can we have a ramp that goes to the east off of the bridge down along Riverside? So there's different things that we're looking at right now. Some of these extra things cost money, so we got to keep that in mind too. And it's already a $75 million bridge. So we'll see where we go with it. I already had that one. Pavement Preservation Program is a very important program that we have. This year, I believe we did 240 miles. In this, we've got 3 different kinds: preventive maintenance, which is the crack seals, and the patching and the slurry seals. That's what this picture is right here. You can see the before and after. Corrective maintenance, where you take that top layer of pavement off and lay a new layer down. And then rehabilitation is when you're 25, 30 years down the road and it's time to replace the road bed and the pavement and everything. So that's the most expensive one. But by doing this, we're able to extend the life of the roads and also save a lot of money. If we just let these roads crumble, it would cost 10 times as much to replace them than it does to maintain them. So we're stretching our dollars. Another project we have that's going to be starting up here, actually, I think this one got pushed down to 2026, will be the BRT Virginia line improvements. So when we first started with our BRT, we had those big green buses that have the hinges in the middle. I always forget what they're called, articulating buses. They were too big. We didn't need that big of a bus. The bridge at Walgreens that goes over the freeway, it's not really good to have a big bus like that crossing that thing all the time. So we went back down to these standard buses. So when we did that, we also found out that the platforms that we built originally are too tall for these buses. So we're going to trim those down so that those ramps come out flush with the platform, better for people with disabilities, people in wheelchairs, removes tripping hazards. That picture on the left there, those are mini BRT stations. We're going to replace those ones with full-size BRT stations. And then finally, over there on the right picture, we'll be putting in a bus-only lane between Plum Lane and Peckham Lane. So outside of Ward 1, but this line goes right through Ward 1, so it does affect passengers as they're using it. Another one that we've got coming up, this one's really like any day now. We might have even started some preliminary work on this one, is the West 4th Street downtown project. So we'll be doing some upgrades to our transit stations, making some pedestrian and ADA improvements. You can see those 3 pictures on the top right. There's going to be some special lighting that go along the neon line corridor as part of this project. And then we're going to be making some improvements to the Vine Street intersection over there by where the Jack in the Box is and where Sportsman's used to be. We're going to reconfigure that entrance too. So make it a lot safer and just more functional. And then next year, we plan on breaking ground on the West 4th Street safety project. So this one will go from, so that last project goes from Evans all the way to Keystone. This one goes from Keystone to McCarran. The 2 big things that you'll notice is the 2 roundabouts that we're going to be installing there. So one of them is on Stoker Avenue, one of them at Summit Ridge Drive. We're also going to be narrowing this road. Cars go very fast on this road. So we're going to reduce the lanes to slow people down. The roundabouts will slow people down. It'll also, with roundabouts, it reduces the risk of severe crashes.
I got a question real quick. Sure, very sure for the record. What was the reason, what was the process of reducing those down to 2 lanes? Because I drive that stretch almost every day, and there's a lot of traffic going down those lanes. There's a reason why it's 45 between Stoker and McCarran, because there's a lot of traffic going through there. What, I mean, you're gonna, by narrowing those down to 2 lanes from 4, you're gonna restrict this traffic, and it's gonna slow everything down. Obviously, what you want is to slow the traffic down, but it's also gonna congest it. So where did you get your input from this? Because it's obviously not from people who actually use that road every day.
Yeah, they do traffic studies to see what the volume of traffic is. Does a 2-lane road support the amount of traffic? And they came to the conclusion that it does. So they don't expect the traffic to be backed up very badly on that. Really, the biggest thing is safety. There's also gonna be a multi-use path that will be going in on the north side of the road. So if people want to ride their bikes, they won't be on the road. So safety improvements are the main things. What I was saying about the roundabouts is, they reduce the likelihood of head-on crashes and T-bone crashes. And also, if there are crashes in a roundabout, they're not as severe because you're not going as fast. So,
I'm agreeing that, we've got more people coming in. I was on 2030, RTC 2030, and they talked about the rate of flow, of traffic and stuff. That's why you don't put a school on a major road that you want 45 miles an hour. You want to push traffic through. So when you're combining it, I don't see it I can't make the findings how this really works for us. Everybody that lives here will tell you, this isn't working for us. You know, when you combine it, because we have more people living here and, you know, with the Todd overlays and everything else and all the bike lanes, it's terrible to get around downtown, in our ward especially. So, you need it. I don't get it.
Reducing the lanes.
Yeah, I mean, right, because especially now there's every time you go down there, there's more and more commercial traffic down there. There's more and more truck rigs. I mean, there's more and more traffic going down that street every day. And reducing that's not gonna make it any safer. I mean, granted, it's only my opinion, but it's also the opinion of most of the people in those neighborhoods. So obviously, when they did their survey, they didn't actually survey the people who live or use that road.
It's just traffic's terrible.
It's not gonna, I mean, you're gonna congest traffic of so much, it's just not gonna be, it doesn't make sense.
Take the bus.
And I think right now it's only 4 lanes starting at, is it Summit Ridge? Where it starts 4 lanes? It goes to 2 lanes once you.
Lanes right after.
So, yeah,
Right after
just
that to
west
McCarran.
of Summit Ridge, it turns into 2, it goes
Yeah.
2 to 4, but that's where all your heavy traffic is. You can tell by looking at where it is only 2 lanes, it's always congested. It's always congested, no matter regardless of what time of day you go down there. You know, I mean, especially, you know, beginning of the day and the end of the day, I mean, you're always stuck. You know, I mean, people are trying to cross over the double yellow line to make left-hand turns that are not supposed to be maybe made. So they're blocking up traffic all over the place. So that's a perfect example of why the 2 lanes is not going to work.
It will go back to 4 lanes just to the west of Keystone Avenue. So as you're going east on 4th Street, once you get closer to the intersection, it will open back up, from what I understand. So that way at that intersection where there is a lot of traffic, you will have the turning lanes and.
You're talking about the intersection of Keystone and 4th?
Yeah.
Okay, because a lot of the traffic that we're talking about now is up there towards 4th and McCarran. I mean, because all that traffic coming off of McCarran or going to McCarran, it's congested on the 2-lane road all day, every day.
There really is.
Um,
And you got all that building going on, all the new housing and everything else right off that street coming down, and everybody's getting off the freeways going on the side streets. It's not much fun.
Yeah, Nick, this change makes no sense at all.
Maya Johnson for the record. Can you clarify for me exactly what the range of the area where the lane reductions are planned is, before I ask you another question about it?
So to the west of like Summit Ridge, it's gonna stay at 2 lanes.
Okay, so east of Summit Ridge
Yeah,
to Keystone.
yeah, just to the west of Keystone where it'll
Okay.
widen back out.
Okay, so not over by McCarran.
No.
Okay. I just wanted to add a couple of thoughts about this area because there are a lot of businesses that are pretty great on Keystone Avenue, but it's a terrible place to walk. And so I don't shop there as much as I would like to, just because it's like you said, it's if you're not in a car, then it's miserable.
Mhm.
So I look forward to kind of seeing some of that made more multi-use. I'll need to look at the specific plan, but how far, so is it, this is from Keystone West to Summit Ridge is what we're talking
So
about?
the entire project will go from Keystone to McCarran.
Okay. But the lane reductions are Keystone to Summit Ridge to this roundabout. Okay.
Roughly.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
All right, let's keep the remainder of the questions until we're completely done with the presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, and I don't think I've got a lot more. Biggest Little Bike Network. So this is a project that we're gonna be starting up next summer, more than likely. And we've identified 4 routes in the downtown area to make things a lot better for people that want to ride their bikes or walk in downtown Reno. Specifically to add safety and connectivity and a comfort level for people that want to ride their bikes. So that you can see those streets up there, 5th, Vine, Virginia. Lake Street Evans is actually 3 different streets. So down on the bottom, it starts at Sinclair, then it turns into Lake, and then right there before the bus station, you turn right, and then you go right in front of the ballpark, the Greater Nevada Field. And so this will connect neighborhoods like Midtown Old Southwest to the north of the freeway. University students, we heard from the university today, there's a lot more people that are living downtown or in Midtown that go to school up there. So we're just making a lot of improvements for those people. So this one, we're at 90% design, and we anticipate having this at 100% probably by the new year. And then we're planning on getting into construction in the spring or summer. This 6th Street for All, this was one of our most dangerous streets. When you look at it's part of our high injury network where we've seen a lot of crashes, a lot of fatalities. One of the problems that we do see on this street is there isn't enough traffic to warrant 4 lanes. So this is also a road diet, reducing it from 4 lanes down to 3 lanes, that 3rd lane being the turning lane. But we're going to put in bike lanes, wide sidewalks, on-street parking. So this should drastically improve the safety of the people that walk or ride their bikes down there. They did a survey of the area, and there's a lot of people that are, pushing strollers, they're in wheelchairs, riding their bikes, and cars are just plowing, they're just going way over the speed limit. So it's an area that we think is really a good option to make these improvements. We did get a grant from the federal government, a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, and that's why we have the name. So 6th Street for All is what we call it because of that grant. That's about, I think, $9 million that we got to go towards this. So we're pretty excited about that. We're planning on starting this one next year. And then also next year, we've got the 7th Street, 6th Street, West Street pavement rehabilitation. So this is 3 different areas. So on 7th Street, it's Keystone to Washington Street. And I think that street right there is the boundary between Ward 1 and Ward 5. These 2 streets I got pictures of, 6th Street from Arlington to West. You can see how there was some patch job that happened on that one. Looks almost like a tile, really bad tile job right there. And then over here on West Street, you can see how cracked up and there's patches there. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna clean all 3 of these streets up. So this is where we're gonna go in and rebuild the entire road. And then this one here is something that I talk to everyone about because people work out at USA Parkway from every neighborhood in Reno and Sparks. So we're looking at different ways that we can reduce the amount of traffic on Interstate 80. We know that NDOT has a grant and they plan on widening Interstate 80 to 6 lanes between Vista and USA Parkway, but we don't think that that's enough. So NDOT did a study that would connect South Meadows Parkway to USA Parkway. That one is very expensive, about $1 billion. A lot of bridges that would need to be built. The one that we're really focusing on would be connecting Spanish Springs to USA Parkway. That's right around the $300 million range. Get a BLM easement, hopefully. What we would like to do is find a way to fund it first, and then second, build it before the widening of I-80. Because once construction starts on that stretch, it's going to be worse. It's going to be a nightmare. It's already kind of a nightmare out there for people that are commuting. And once construction starts, there's going to be some pain. So we want to have an alternate route before that happens. We'll see, there's a lot of work that has to be done still, but we're hoping we can get that done. And then finally, we're in the middle of a commuter rail feasibility study, and we'll see what comes of that. The idea would be to have a commuter rail from Reno and Sparks out to USA Parkway. Then once you get out to USA Parkway, the companies where most of the people work would provide the first and last mile, basically. So we're going to see what the findings are from that, and if it warrants, we could see commuter rail in the future. So when it comes to the budget, these are our revenues. So you did hear Jackie talking about some of the taxes. We do get some sales tax, but fuel tax makes up the most. The biggest slice of the pie is our fuel tax. We get about $118 million. We get some federal funding, about $104 million. Sales tax is a pretty big chunk, and then you can also see the RIF. That is anytime a developer builds every unit, they pay a fee of, right now it's right around $5,000, $5,200. That goes into a bucket of money that adds capacity that's created because of the development. So that's a pretty valuable program for us. Some of the projects that we've done recently were down in South Reno. Steamboat Parkway was paid for with RIF So it was no taxpayer dollars in that project. Another one was out in North Valley's Sky Vista that was paid for with RIF dollars. So that's a pretty valuable program. And then our budget, our expenses this year, the bulk of it goes to our capacity improvement projects, some of the ones that I was just talking about. We also have our bus, all the sales tax, all of the funding for transit comes from sales tax. All of the funding for, well, not all the funding for roads, but a big chunk of the roads. Fuel tax goes directly to roads. And then we also have some other buckets of money, but you can see where we're spending our money. We do have a little bit of debt that we're paying, and that is because of Veterans Parkway. When we built that, we'll be paying that off for a while. We have to pay for our paratransit, our bus, fixed route service, and then our MPO operating is about 5.2 million. That's like staff salaries and things like that. So we're in a unique situation where, you know, most companies, their most expensive part of operating is labor. With us, it's projects. So we're in a unique situation there. I put this on here just so you guys can kind of compare. You know, we hear about fuel taxes. Nobody likes paying fuel tax. Washoe County is higher than the neighboring counties because we have fuel tax indexing. That keeps up with inflation. And you see it every time you gas up. But when you break it down per year, on average, per vehicle, the RTC fuel tax is about $195 per vehicle. And you can compare that to the other fees and taxes that you pay for other things. So when you compare it to sewer, water, power, property tax, it's actually a lot less. It's just when you gas up, it's right there in your face. You're like, I just paid $80 for a tank of gas, which by the way is mostly the price of oil. But we do pay a higher amount of fuel tax than we do in other counties. And I'll take any other questions.
Okay, questions from the board?
I do. Anthony Taylor, for the record, we got a lot of questions for you. It's like a frenzy for you. It's gonna be a frenzy for you. You started off with the description of our Metrobound transit system, which is essentially defined as a hub and spoke, but as a circulator system. So I believe that the system is quite anemic. It's, there were more routes about like 10, 15 years ago compared to today. There might have been, and with straight lining and stuff like that, with the budgets and stuff, there it has shrunk significantly. Do you plan to extend service for existing routes, such as like a second for the 18, a second town crosstown to Dickerson, where there is, if you have to walk all the way down to Keystone in order to get a bus. So would you be able to expand services or expand the Lincoln line to go to Stoker or to Summit Ridge and stuff? Maybe duplicates, a little bit of duplicate services and stuff like that. And are you planning, if population grows and stuff, are you planning to consider express bus services to the suburbs to get people down to, to the transit centers like in Sparks and in Reno and stuff?
So right now, this kind of answers both questions. Right now, we just started our transit optimization plan strategies. We call it TOPS. And every 3 to 5 years, we come in and we look at our transit system as a complete whole. So the ride system, paratransit, van pool, all those programs, we look at, are we doing things as efficiently as we can? We look at where the riders are mostly coming from. We have a heat map where it shows that we have a lot of ridership at the university, obviously, it's free for them. But we're also seeing a lot of people that they're riding the bus over to like the Sparks industrial area. So we're seeing our buses in the mornings are pretty packed going that direction. So what we're doing is we're looking at where are the riders, what routes are the busiest, where can we expand service if they need to, where can we reduce service if we don't have enough riders. One of the reasons that we don't have as much fixed route service in Sparks, for instance, is because we just didn't have the ridership. And that's why we've got Flex Ride in that area. We're not going to send a bus up to Spanish Springs to pick up one person. It's not efficient, it's not a good way to spend our taxpayers' dollars. So what we want to do is put our buses where the people are and where they're using it. So if this study comes back and it shows that an expansion is necessary, then that's something that we'll look into.
Okay. Sorry, additional, one of the issues, especially with transit riders, particularly using your services, and I would like to also add to the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority too, is better signage and wayfinding system services. So at your so I noticed that you improved in the Sparks Centennial Plaza service about wayfinding and services, but downtown for the 4th Street station, it's not telling people, you know, how to connect to Amtrak and like, hey, where is the Amtrak station, even though it's around the corner, maybe some signage to direct people to and from, so that RTC can have like, you know, seamless services, because there has been a lot of people that are confused when they get off, where do they go and stuff, so.
When they get off Amtrak, then
Yes.
where do they find the bus?
Yeah,
station?
when they find local city buses and vice versa, and but
Good point.
whoever does then the transit system, yeah, please let them know about that.
Maya Johnson for the record. Have two things, but maybe you can come back to me if this runs long. The Kinsley Street Bridge. First off, I want to say thanks for resurfacing it because I live really close to it. I use it pretty much every day. It was in pretty bad shape, and it's also kind of, I've been a little sad that those two bridges over there, are Kinsley and Second, are not quite as nice looking as the other downtown bridges. They don't really get a lot of attention. I wanted to ask you, this is a bit of a hobby horse of mine, so I mention it pretty much every time it comes up. But that corridor of Kinsley and Second Street, we're talking about lane reductions on Keystone or 4th Street and 6th Street. Has there been any discussion about doing those kinds of studies and looking into possible lane reductions on those corridors of like Kinsley and Second Street, especially between the river and Wells Avenue? Because that's my neighborhood, and right now we have like 3 lanes that going in one direction on Second Street coming off the river to Wells Avenue. And Kinsley is kind of that same way, and it's very, very contoured and it looks like a highway, and people treat it like a highway. They tend to drive very fast through the neighborhood. They come off of Wells Avenue down that slip lane. And if you're in the neighborhood and you live there and you're walking from place to place, it can be very uncomfortable to try to cross those streets. And also the marked crosswalks are very few. They're only in like one side of a couple of intersections. I don't really think it's reasonable to expect a pedestrian to like zigzag around blocks to like use the official crosswalk. So people just cross wherever, because why should a car be able to cross an intersection that a pedestrian can't downtown? But I'm really interested in getting some attention on that, because especially Second Street is extremely wide and there's never a whole lot of traffic on there. So I'd like to see that kind of lens applied to those streets in particular. I'm wondering if there's been any talk about that, or if it's something that might be on the docket for the future.
I don't know if we've done any studies particularly on those 2 streets in that corridor. This might be something though, when we get to that neighborhood network plan,
Mhm.
where we could see some possible improvements for pedestrian and
I
bicyclists.
did leave a ton of comments to this effect on that map. So I look forward to that, but just to mention it here because it came up, that those streets are very, very car centric and don't get a whole lot of traffic except when there's a ball game. Also, I wanted to ask you about the Virginia line. Do you have, I noticed you mentioned some station improvements. How much does the occurrence of bunching factor into that? Because I have, most of my experience with the Virginia line is trying to take a short trip going from, say, UNR to Midtown, because walking past all those fake storefronts and the casinos is pretty much there's not a whole lot of stuff to do there. It can be a drag. It takes a while. So I'm really interested in using the bus for those short, like 1-2 mile trips down that corridor. But it can be difficult because I'll go to try and catch a bus and sometimes there won't be a bus for 20 minutes because they get all bogged down having to do that turnaround to get into 4th Street and then back over. It can kind of hurt the value proposition versus just walking. So I'm curious about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so bunching, we've discussed that before. It does happen sometimes where you'll have, you know, the first bus ends up getting stuck in traffic and then the second bus ends up catching up to it. So like you said, 2 minutes apart. So we try to find ways to avoid that. Sometimes it's just what happens with traffic. We're hoping that maybe with some of those bus only lanes that we'll be putting, you know, that one between Plum and Peckham, that maybe that could help reduce that type of issue. That's a better question for our transit guys. But I know that Alex Cruz, one of our transit guys, he discussed bunching and how they do try to, I think dispatch, they try to balance that as well as they can, basically. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes traffic just dictates it.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I piggyback off of your question? Could it be improved with tweaks of the ITS system along Virginia? The intelligent transit transportation system. So the lights, could there be tweaks in the lighting system, or do you need to work with the city of Reno in regards to that because of right-of-way issues and stuff?
Well, we work with the city of Reno and the city of Sparks, Walsh County. We work with them on all of our projects because we don't own any of the roads or the lights. Those are owned by the municipalities. So we do work with them on those, but we are making a lot of strides with the ITS. We're eventually hoping that we can kind of, you know, when you're going from Reno to Sparks, for instance, people don't, you know, they don't care if you're going in a different city. You want your stoplights to time out right. So we want these traffic signals to be region-wide where you can, you know, catch a green light and you won't catch a red light for, you know, four signals or something like that. So yeah, ITS, we are making a lot of strides with that. And I don't know if we've done anything in terms of the Virginia line with the ITS or not, but I can find that out.
Okay. Lastly, in regards to the Virginia line, so you will be opening that the South City section all the way to the Summit Mall next year?
No, so we did a transit oriented development study to see if there was enough demand to expand the BRT all the way down to Summit Mall. And we didn't have good numbers for it. So we're not in any kind of rush to expand down there. If there are a lot more apartments and houses that are built down there in the future, that's something we'll look at again. But as of now, it doesn't look like we're gonna be sending the Virginia line all the way down there.
Mike Steedman, more shade trees. And we worked on a long time, something, gosh, I forget the old line that went around the university and then it came down. You know, something that'd be up by the university, come down Valley, go down 4th, down to California and wrapped around. So it brought down more of the college students and stuff like that, or people. We try to work on something. I don't know if you'll ever work on that, something like that again. Would be kind of fun.
For
You know
transit.
what I'm trying to, yeah.
Are you talking about the Sierra Spirit?
Does that
That was-
do? Sierra Spirit, yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah, and that was a free service.
yes.
And some people have asked us, why don't you guys just make all of our bus service free? Well, we can't afford to do that. for
I'd
one.
rather have to pay for it, but it'd be fun. But the college kids could take it free anyways, so
Yeah.
fine.
Mhm.
And then when is the RTC meeting that people can go to?
That's every third Friday of the month.
Okay, thank
So
you.
this Friday is our next one.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anybody else? I just want to say thank you for coming out here and giving this to us. I know that you use data and studies to make your decisions, not just based off of some whim or opinion. So thank you for that. And yeah, thanks.
No problem. 9 o'clock, by the way. The
Nine-
meeting's at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, don't worry, yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Dad.
All right. Well, with that, any public comments on this item?
No public comment in person, and we do not have any public commenters online.
All right, great. We're gonna go ahead and circle back to A7, Staff Liaison Report. Callie?
All right, pull this up. Thank you to everyone for hanging in there. One last presentation for tonight. Made that really big. Hey, hello everyone. Callie Shai, staff liaison for the record. For tonight's staff liaison report, I'm going to give some general updates as well as a deep dive into a training topic, but I'm going to try to keep it brief because everyone's been here for a long time. So the goal is to provide a short training in each staff liaison report from here on out. So we'll start tonight. First, just want to give the board some reminders. You all know about Reno Direct, the city's non-emergency service for service requests and other general information. So I'll include this slide in all future staff liaison reports so that you and members of the public can access it when you need to. Second, you all should have received that quarterly quorum reminder last week. So that's how I'll start doing quorum checks from now on. So the next one you'll get is in December for the first quarter of 2026. We'll talk a little bit more about how the board secretary role integrates with this, but as a reminder, it's the responsibility of each NAB member to confirm their attendance for future meetings. Next, I want to provide you with the link to sign up for city newsletters. I'll show you in a little bit where this presentation is online so that you can access these links. But I highly recommend that you all sign up for the development projects and the council agendas newsletter. You should all be subscribed to Ward 1 newsletter. That's where you get the Ward 1 meeting reminders and agendas once those are posted, but I will go into that a little bit more in the coming slides. Some engagement opportunities coming up. Rolling Recreation will be in several locations all throughout October. So the Believe Plaza, the Locomotion Plaza, Evans Park, and West Street Plaza. And we also have the Reno Antique Fair this Sunday downtown. For some board updates, we have the new board secretary role coming online today. So whoever is elected the board secretary, the duties start today, most importantly, the minute taking aspect. So I'll be working with the board secretary to get the minutes made. Starting at the next meeting, I'll be providing the board secretary with a template, a Word document template they can use to take notes. So that will be super helpful, and I'll be working with them to get that sorted. The board secretary is also responsible for working with me to verify quorum for the meetings. What this will look like is that the board secretary will reach out to me ideally around 48 hours before the meeting to check and see if we have a quorum. I'll let them know if we have one, and if not, who I haven't heard from. The board secretary can use our new boards and commissions portal to find the contact information for those members and reach out and see if they will be joining us. Currently, there are 4 vacancies on this board, 2 of which are alternate member vacancies. So if you know of anyone who's interested in serving on the board, there are vacancies. Again, you can visit the Reno.Gov /boards site to sign up for that. And I'll show that a little bit later. All right, I wanted to remind the board of some additions that the Boards and Commissions resolution added. So the first you had all in front of you tonight were the project review worksheets. So I'll be providing these for each development project. You all should have received the fillable PDF form. If you like to type, you're more than welcome to do that. And I'm working on a form response as well, so you don't have to worry about emailing it to me. It's something you can just fill out during or after the meeting. So once I get that online, I'll provide that to each of you. So interestingly, with the project review worksheets, we can be kind of flexible with the timing as to when I need you to get those into me. At first, I kind of said next day would be great so that I can upload them to the meeting materials. But some NAB members kind of expressed that might be too tight of a turnaround. So with the projects we heard tonight, both of them are slated for planning commission meetings in November. So you have plenty of time to get those in. Like I said, if you get them into me tomorrow, I'll add them to the meeting record. Regardless, they'll be added to the meeting record once I receive them. And then in addition, I'll also be sending them to the planning department for inclusion in their staff reports. And we're working with planning to make sure that the NAB member comments and general discussion is called out during their presentations in the future. Additionally, the resolution requires 1 board officer to provide public comment. This public comment is on behalf of the NAB at all future public hearings for each development project. Generally, this comment should summarize community feedback and NAB member discussion on the project. So it's not about this board member specific feelings on a project. It's about, we were at the NAB, this is what we talked about. The public or the board raised these sorts of concerns. These are the kinds of things we're concerned about. So only one officer, that would be the chair, the vice chair, or the secretary, has to provide public comment. So our officers can discuss with each other who they'd like to submit comment. I recommend just doing that at the meeting. After the meeting, say, hey, who'd like to submit comment on this? And then that way you don't have to worry about it. And like I said, we're starting to add anticipated hearing dates to all of the projects, so you have an idea. Like I said, those are anticipated, they're tentative, so they might change. But there's multiple ways for you to submit public comment. So you can see them on the screen, City Council and Planning Commission. And if you're not sure when something's gonna go, you can always email me your public comment. I'll make sure it gets to the right place. Okay, we're gonna dive into our first training topic today. We're gonna talk about tracking planning cases through the entitlement process. So first I'm gonna kind of go through each of these process steps and then show you the resources, and those are in the yellow squares on the bottom. So starting with the intake process, the planning department will accept most applications twice a month on the second and fourth Monday of each month. Once it's submitted, planning will review it for initial completeness, and they'll either accept it or reject it. Once accepted, the project is scheduled tentatively for a NAB meeting or a hearing, which is either Planning Commission or City Council. One of the projects we had tonight, the Luella-Garvey historic designation, that went to the Historic Resource Commission last week. So that one has a couple different steps. It goes to the HRC, then it'll go to Planning Commission, then it'll go to the City Council. So once it's been accepted, the planning department will mail out courtesy notices. Those are mailed out to neighbors within a certain radius, NAB members, and other affected property owners. So if you've ever received those pink card stocks, those are the courtesy notices that get mailed out at the initial beginning stages. During the intake process, members of the public can access project information from the Development Projects newsletter and the permit portal. So let's take a closer look at the Development Projects newsletter. Maybe you've seen this before if you're subscribed, but the Development Project newsletter is sent after each intake to the city departments, external agencies, and members of the public. It provides information on current development projects, including identifying project information. So you'll see it here. This is one of the projects we saw tonight. It includes the case number and the case name, property information, important dates like the NAB and the hearing date, contact information for staff and for the applicant or their representative, a project description, and a map. It also includes a link to view the application on the permit portal. I'll show you that in a couple slides, and a link to submit early feedback to the planning department. At the bottom of the newsletter, they will include upcoming planning cases for Planning Commission and council meetings, but I'll show you that in just a bit. So once accepted, the project is analyzed by several city departments. That includes planning, engineering, building, fire, anyone else who needs their eyes on it, and external agencies. These are agencies like RTC, NDOT, Washoe County Health, those sorts of organizations. During the review process, the applicant or the representative will present to the NAB like they did tonight, and the planning department will collect public feedback, including the project review worksheets you all have before you today. Oftentimes, the timing of a project varies. The projects we had tonight we have quite a bit of time until they go to Planning Commission, but for some other cases, the timeline is a lot shorter. So that's why that just varies a little bit. Throughout the review process, the documents are uploaded to the permit portal, which is the One Nevada Regional Licensing Portal. It's regional licensing and permitting for Reno, Sparks, Washoe, and Douglas County. Anyone is able to search for business licenses, building permits, code enforcement cases, etc. So you can search by address, parcel, or case number and find project information, records, and contact information. So on the screen, I searched the project we had today, the 2400 Valley Road. The first thing that will pop up is a map and the record details here. So you can see our presenter tonight, Dave Snellgrove. You can see his contact information as well as who owns the property. And then planning will input the project description, which is the same description you can see on the agenda. If you're looking for more information, you can expand the record info tab and find a couple of different things. You can see the processing status on the right, which shows you where the project is. And then what's usually most convenient are the attachments. If you click on the attachments For planning cases, nearly everything is public record, so you should be able to see everything there. All you have to do is look over to the document type to see what you might be looking at. So you can see this is an application. All you have to do is click on the blue highlighted text and the application is immediately downloaded to your device. All right, hopefully you've all seen this before. This is the NAB newsletter that you're sent. We send it about 3 business days before the meeting agenda is posted. 3 business days before the meeting when the agenda is posted. So from there, you can view the agenda and open it and register for the Zoom meeting. The newsletter serves as the perfect reminder to check in with me about your attendance. If you haven't confirmed yet, or you know you've said you're going to be there, but something's changed, this is a great time to just email, text me, let me know if you're going to be at the meeting. And then this is the meeting agenda. I'm going to move on because I want to show you guys.
Real quick question,
Yeah,
Cal.
go ahead.
How do we sign up for the newsletter?
You should be signed up for this one. If not, I'm going to show you where this is located. I'm going to show you where this is uploaded to the meeting, and then you can access this document and click the sign up link. But it's also on Reno.Gov. If you go to Reno.Gov, there's a little tab along the top that says, how do I? If you expand that, it'll say newsletters. So you click on newsletter and there's a whole list of newsletters you can subscribe to.
Outstanding, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, next up, the project is scheduled for a hearing, either city council or planning commission meeting. And the planning department will work with the applicant or their representative to fulfill legal noticing requirements. And this includes the mailing the legal notices to that same list of people who received the courtesy notices. So these are the half-page yellow cardstock, if you've received those before. Additionally, the applicant will post a physical notice at the project location. Those are the large, sometimes they're smaller if the property is smaller, but they're usually about 3 by 4 feet, yellow public notice signs that you'll see around the city. Lastly, an ad is published in the Reno Gazette Journal. And once again, you can follow the project process on the 1NV portal, but the development projects newsletter will also include a list of upcoming projects. So this is from a past newsletter. It'll show you what planning projects are coming to city council and planning commission meetings. All right, the last step is the hearing and decision. So just like the NAB agendas, the City Council and Planning Commission agendas are distributed through a newsletter, which I'll show you. The meetings are also broadcast live on the City of Reno's YouTube page. And the Planning Department will upload the final decision letter to the permit portal within 24 to 48 hours. So this is what the meeting portal looks like. I'm gonna skip over this because I'm just gonna show you guys the website and show you where to access everything. All right, so I've included an example of each of the meeting agenda newsletters. So this is something you can sign up for if you'd like to. I will note the Planning Commission meeting agenda newsletter uses the same distribution list as development projects. So if you sign up for development projects, you should also be getting the Planning Commission meeting agendas. These newsletters are super similar to the NAB newsletter. You can view the agenda, you can register for the Zoom meeting, and there's a button to provide public comment. And that's what the newsletters look like. So that was a lot of information, but I've tried to consolidate all of the resources onto one slide. Like I said, this is uploaded and I'm working on kind of putting this in a condensed form that you can access. I have 2 more planning related resources. The first one is the land development projects page. So let's say you like to see the development projects newsletters, but you do not want to receive another email. You can look at the land development projects page on the development services. So the path is down here, but I've also linked it here. So on here, the planning department will include links to development project newsletters from the past year. They also provide an updated list of rejected applications and a link to submit project feedback to the development services department. I like to advise people to use the feedback link here when a project is in the early stages. Let's say even for some of the projects we saw today, if we're in a little bit of an earlier stage and you have feedback that you think is helpful to the review process, I think this is a good place to put it. The other link I provided earlier for Planning Commission public comment is something that ideally would be used to provide comment once you know a project is going to the Planning Commission. Either way, your public comment is going to get either enfolded into the staff report or uploaded as a public comment for the project. The last resource is the community development zoning map. This is on the city's website in a couple of different places, so I've linked it on this slide for your convenience. The map outlines ward boundaries, zoning designations, and various overlays in the city, and is a great resource for understanding the zoning in your community and the city as a whole. So you can see Ward 1 outlined in this blue here. But I recommend you all take a minute or two to explore the map and let me know if you have any questions. So that's all I have for the training. I wanted to provide you with some upcoming meeting dates. We have Planning Commission on Wednesday, Council next Wednesday, and our next NAB is on Monday, November 10th here at City Hall. Before I wrap up, I just want to show you the Reno.Gov/board site so I can show you where to find some of the meeting information. Okay. So if you open the board site, it actually has this gorgeous new interface, which is where if you're looking to apply, say your term is coming to an end soon and you'd like to reapply, you can apply here, but there's a lot of other great information, including some of the training information from the September 15th meeting. There's a training presentation here, but a lot of good stuff on there. I'll go down to our Ward 1 NAB. So this is where the profile is. We have all of our members listed here. If you don't know what your term is, you can just click on your name and it'll have your term there. So that's super convenient. If anyone's looking to reapply, you can click the vacancies and apply here. You can also just click the apply for membership button. And then we have meetings. So you can bypass the Reno.Gov/meetings in entirety for this NAB if you'd like to. So for tonight's meeting, we have the meeting right here. So I always advise people to use the HTML agenda because it has all of the attachments loaded on there as opposed to the PDF. So if we open the HTML agenda, you'll see tonight's agenda with our board members, all that great information, the link to register for the Zoom. And then this is where all of the attachments are as well. The attachments are included in the packet, but the packet will download to your device as a PDF. And sometimes if they're very large, it can just take a really long time. So you can see all you have to do is if there's a paperclip, it means there's an attachment there. So you just click on the item and there you can see the minutes. You can click the little eyeball. It'll just open it in a new tab unless you want to download it and click the cloud with the down arrow. But there you can see the minutes. There were some questions about City Manager Jackie Bryant's presentation. So that's included here. So you can view that at any time. The RTC presentation is here. So usually the presentation should be uploaded before the meeting in case something happens, we receive it late, we need to change it. But that's where everything lives there. And I think that's everything I wanted to go over. Does anyone have any questions?
I just wanted to make sure I got the URL for that.
Yes, sorry, that's Reno.Gov/boards.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Question, Anthony Taylor for the record. In regards to the GIS map that was previously mentioned, does that have connect to other services such as the county interfaces and state interfaces as well? Or it's just personalized for the city purposes?
It's mostly personalized for the city. It has a lot of different layers. That one is the zoning map. I would say it's not, all of the services aren't integrated. So they've got to be like 12 different maps in the city's GIS portal. So there's like a public works map. I think there's a flood map. So it doesn't have everything. It's primarily zoning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Relays. Okay,
Yes.
great.
All right, in that case, we'll move on to A3, which was the election of the secretary. And does anybody want to do this?
I'll say for the board, it's a bit of a trial run. We're going to redo board elections in January. So we'll redo elections for chair, vice chair, and secretary. So if it's something you're kind of interested in, you want to try it out for 3 months, or you just want to give a helping hand.
So Mike and I can't do it right now, so it would be maybe
I'm
whoever makes
dyslexic,
really
so I
quick.
can't.
Whoever takes really good notes, somebody who's willing and as unbiasedly as possible, accumulating everybody's information into a comment.
And we'll provide you with the resources you need. You're not alone. I'll be working with you to get them done. So
All right, if nobody volunteers, I will give two suggestions. I think member Johnson would be good, and I think member Taylor would be very good as well. Everyone else would be good, but let's see.
So this is where you you make your summary and you present it at the subsequent city council meeting.
That and just taking notes and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
And
the
it could
minute,
be
it's
either
the
of
minute
them.
taking, it's verifying a quorum, and then it's deciding between the secretary and the chairs who's going to provide public comment. And that's not, to clarify, public comment at all future hearings does not mean in-person live public comment. You can submit written comment, you can join the Zoom meeting, you can come in person if you so choose. But yeah.
And I think the secretary would be a good option for that because they're already writing down everything. They're already, so, you know, if they can't, then one of us can definitely do it too, but just think it makes most sense for them to do it, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was the only thing I wanted to be sure of because I can't really guarantee that I'd be able to make it in person to the meetings when they take place during the day.
Well, if that was ever the case, let's hypothetically say you did do this, one of us can take over if there's one that you can't
Okay, so
make it
we
to.
can work with
Yeah,
it.
we'll talk all the time
Okay,
about it. Yeah.
I'm open to it.
Okay.
So same day, time. You did make a lot of notes.
Okay.
NRS compliant.
Well, perhaps we'll just put it to a vote. Okay, can I get a motion for member Johnson as secretary?
How do you mean by a vote? Like, we would vote on
Yeah,
Johnson?
we'll
and
just
then
take turns.
Taylor?
Yeah.
So someone
This
would
one
make a
passes.
motion
Yeah.
to elect member Johnson board secretary. If someone else wants to second, they can second, and then we'll do the vote.
And then we'll do a vote.
Right.
Which one of you would like to do it more?
Whoever makes the motion, whoever they would like to elect.
Are you both neutral on this, would you say, or do any of you want to just come out and say, yeah, I kind of want to do that? Is anyone willing to do that? Okay.
Want to have anybody.
Okay. All right, well then, can I get a motion for?
Sunny Allen, for the record, I motion to elect,
Vote on, elect?
vote on member Johnson to be the secretary for the NAB.
Okay, can I get a second, please?
Yeah, Brian Harvey, second that.
Okay, great. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those against?
Aye.
Okay.
You could have one.
Aye. All right, any against? Okay, great. The motion passes. Thank you. We appreciate your service. Thank you very much.
Very much.
It's the hardest job out of all three of us, probably. Okay, so after that, let's move back to item D, which is board commission committee member reports and announcements. Anybody have anything? No? No? Going once, going twice, sold. Okay, moving on to item E, future agenda items. Does anyone have anything for future agenda items? No?
I don't know. Mike Stephen for the record. I don't know if this is agenda item or public comment, but the homeless on 4th Street's gotten really, really bad the last month. I mean, I thought it was all supposed to be getting cleared up, and it's awful for those businesses down there.
There was some, I think last year it came up that they did like the whip ban in like 22? No, when it was 21, 22, sometime very early post-COVID. And I think there was some discussion about how it gotten really bad. I live in that neighborhood and it kind of comes and goes. But there's definitely been a lot of stuff.
Can we get
Track.
code? Or like we've been trying to get the downtown ambassadors, somebody to come here? Would that be the best way?
That was the downtown Reno partnership.
Yeah.
We
There should
can,
be somebody from just the partnership, but there should be somebody that's in charge of it. They can come we can say, hey, what's the deal? Would you do that for us?
yeah, we can look into that.
We might want to involve the Parks Department in some of that too, because I know around Broadhead Park is where they do a lot of their own. And I think there's some delicacy with whether or not it's in the park depends on, like, sometimes like there will be something like there will be like a car with no license plates or somebody who's just like camping out in the parking spaces at the park entrance. And they'll say, well, if it's outside the park, we can't do anything. And so it might be nice to get some clarification on exactly how that responsibility falls and how we should report to whom.
That should be code. So not necessarily parks, but code should be able to address that.
Or anybody, Callie, who would have anything to do with that. Send them in. Send them all in.
Got
Okay,
it.
any other agenda items?
Yeah, I would like to bring in the county health department in representative in regards to that, because we have had complaints about illegal vending, especially in hygienic cases. A lot of people, especially businesses, are closing downtown because they have had, they've spent a lot of money with the permits and regulations to have a kitchen and to serve food, and for somebody like on a Saturday night selling, bacon wrap hot dogs, and, there's no cleaning and hygienic standards, and some people got sick, college students got sick. We should bring in the health department in regards to that.
Callie, can we still continue trying to get Washoe County Crossroads in here too?
Yes, we will continue to look into that. We're just looking into some coordination with the council liaison and how we want to move forward with that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay, last chance. Okay. All right, great. Then we'll go ahead and move on to item F, which is public comment.
I've got nothing.
Okay, great. And before we get to adjournment, I just want to say thank you, everybody, for spending your time, especially on volunteer money. It just shows that you care about your community, and good job, us. All right, so I'd like to move to item G.
Guys.
Yeah, and Callie and Tyler, of
Thank
course,
you.
you guys are the best. Made this experience more comfortable.
You're all gonna have Tyler to yourselves next meeting because he's gonna run it for me.
Oh,
So
dang.
he forgot about that, but he's gonna do
All right.
it.
Which one's more strict?
You'll find out.
Okay, good idea. Yeah, okay. All righty. Can I get a motion for adjournment, please?
Ray Shore for the record, a motion to adjourn.
Okay, can I get a second?
Claudia Davis, second.
Great. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Great. The meeting is adjourned, and thank you very much.